Always periodically change. That's what amen mean, or let it be done. So really, I was saying the same thing, but I just think with it. No doubt. No. All right, so I get praise and demon honor to live out of him in the name of Yahuah HaMashiach. John chapter 5, verse 39. Good job. Search the scripture, for any of you think you have eternal life. And they was testify of me. And you not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Allah in you. I come in my Abba's name, and you receive me not. Another come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another, and not the honor that comes from Allah he only? Do not think that I will accuse you to Abba. There is one that accused you, even Moses, in whom you trust. Had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? Well, go clean your nose, boy. Psalm 141. Yahuah, I cry unto you. Make haste unto me. Give ear unto my voice. And when I cry unto you, let my prayer be set forth before you as incense, and the lifting up of my hands as the evening sacrifice. Now, what y'all know about the evening sacrifice? That's the better question. Oh, no. Hold on this thing. Okay, now he done caught back up. This doggone thing pissed me off. What do y'all think? For those of you who don't know what the evening sacrifice is, what do you think it might be? You looking a little perplexed, baby. You okay? Well, you bought it. That's a big lunch bag for such a small lady. You always want to blame it on somebody else. I just said that's a big bag for a small lady. I just said, don't you put that evil on me. No, I'm talking about the literal, the evening sacrifice. Somebody at the door.
The third prayer today, right? Three sacrifices, 3 prayers every day.
You do got 3 prayers every day. I don't know. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't necessarily say it's linked with the prayer. But come over here to Exodus 29, though. Look, Mike. Come here, little Mike. I think that's right there. What's up, bud? Why your shoes untied? Why your tongue look like that? What's wrong with you, man? Why you came out the door like that? You don't care about your shoes? You ain't got to look crazy. Look at me when I'm talking to you. Shoes look like that, man. You don't care about your look. You don't care how you look. Okay, well, at least fix your tongue on your other shoe. You know how to tie your shoes? Fix your shoes up, man. You been all right? Pull your tongue up, son. That means that part. That part right there. Pull your tongue up. No. Don't tighten your shoestring, son. Pull the tongue of your shoe up. Yeah, that's called a shoe tongue. Pull that up, son. You're looking sloppy. You been okay? Exodus chapter 29, verse 38. Matter of fact, make it 35. Oh, man. Shalom, man. Well, who we done jumped on like that? 29 and 35. Thus shall you do unto Aaron unto his sons according to all things which I command you. 7 days shall you consecrate them. You shall offer every day a bullock for a sin offering for atonement. You shall cleanse the altar, and when you have made an atonement for it, you shall anoint it to sanctify it. 7 days shall you make an atonement for the altar and sanctify it. It shall be an altar most Kadash. Whatsoever touch the altar shall be Kadash. Now this is that which you shall offer upon the altar, 2 lambs of the first year, day by day, continually. The one lamb shall you offer in the morning, the other lamb shall you offer in the evening. And 1 lamb, a 10th deal of flour mingled with the 4th part of a hin of beaten oil, and the 4th part of a hin of wine for a drink offering. The other lamb shall you offer at evening, and you shall do according to the meat offering of the morning, according to the drink offering thereof. Hold on, for a sweet savor, an offering made by fire unto Yahuah. It shall be a continual burnt offering throughout your generations at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation before Yahuah, where I will meet with you to speak with you, speak there unto you. There will I meet the sons of Yasharal, and the tabernacle shall be sanctified by my esteem. And I will sanctify the tabernacle, the congregation, and the altar. I will also sanctify also both Aaron and his sons to minister to me in the priest's office. I will dwell among the sons of Yasharal and will be their Elohim. And they shall know that I am Yahuah their Elohim, that brought them forth out of the land of Mizraim, that I may dwell among them. I am Yahuah their Elohim. What is the key components of that evening sacrifice that are important? You got a oil and wine. Let's look at what did he say that oil had to be? I just seen a nigga say something. He said 2 things he was gonna do. That nigga say beat the odds and his meat. I say get this man out of here. The odds.
every day. That's a mean.
That's what little dog say. I said, "Boy, you stupid, boy." He says, "I said, boy, you stupid." John was funny though. I said, "Boy, you clever now." You clever. You clever now. That nigga said, "I'm gonna beat the odds and the meat, boy." I said, "Boy, get this man out of here." The word for beaten in this particular verse is kapet. Beaten out, pure, pounded fine, in the mortar, costly. You got kaf, tau, yod, and tau. Kaf, tau, yod, and tau. Somebody around here got some good gourmet cheese. That just stink too. That popcorn cheese.
It's cheesy popcorn.
Yeah, they sell it. We got all types of popcorn.
You know, you remember had the little can of
Tau, yod, and tau. Kaf, tau, yod, and tau.
That's open palm.
Open palm. Somebody been subdued.
That's beat.
That's to be subdued. He was subdued, overcame, beaten, if you will, humiliated. Ah, there it is. Humiliated. That right hand was humiliated. Therefore, there was a mark. Because you know why the mark is important? Because this oil has to be beaten. Y'all remember what oil is, don't you?
I probably say covenant.
You know, Shemin?
Covenant. Mark of the covenant for your works to be subdued. Your work to be subdued.
Yeah, but we want to look at it in the aspect of this is what got to be brought with this thing that's being brought to be sacrificed. He got a drink offering got to come with it, and then the oil has to be beaten fine, beaten pure. So you're looking at it as that the master himself, he was subdued because he was beaten pure. We kind of discussed some of that last night. We talk about it all the time. It's hard not to discuss it. The man was beaten. We just talked about it last night. We said about what? What happened to the men who were sent to comfort the children of Ammon? What happened to them, Shalom, man? They got humiliated.
Boot out.
How did they get humiliated, Sade? Oh, that's unfortunate. Oh, what you thought I was going to say? It was going to be okay. This ain't school. No, that's unfortunate, baby. You got to recall that. Don't you know what he said? What's going to happen if you don't recall those things which you have heard? He won't let you remember it. He'll let it slip. And you'll be like, what was that again? No, that's a little reverse, though. He said that we must recall, they say, we do not take heed to the things that we have heard, lest they should slip. Meaning that if we don't retain the information, he won't allow you to retain it. He will cause you to forget what you thought you knew. And I've seen that live and in action many a day. I get it, you know what I'm saying? But I done had people who they had done sat dead in the room on multiple occasions and hit a nigga up. So what that mean again? And then it came out, them niggas was living dangerously. Shalom, man. It ain't hard to live dangerously. You know what I'm saying? They like to live what his name is, awesome powers. They like to live dangerously. Like to live a little on the wild side, live on the edge. You know, teeter the line. Michael, do you remember what happened to those two men? Oh, so you wasn't paying attention either. That is unfortunate as well. My statement still stands. The two men we were reading about yesterday, they got shamed when they were sent out to be comforters for the children of Ammon.
Boot out.
They don't remember that there. You remember the nasty nigga boot out when you went to Chippendales, didn't you? To the male review. You remember that.
The review. The general review.
Did you not recall that David's son, Shalom, man, you do not recall that David sent messengers to the sons of Ammon after his daddy, the king, after his daddy died and his son took over? And they said maybe these men are coming to spy out the land, and they cut their head off and cut their pants off till half their booty was out. We definitely just talked about that last night. They ain't been a good, strong 24 hours. Definitely did. And they said they were humiliated. Then you remember we went and read in Acts chapter 8 about the man was humiliated in judgment? Oh, y'all wasn't paid. Was you asleep? You was asleep? Well, ain't no cleaning, no toilets got you that tired. So what I hear is a bunch of bull crap. That's what I hear. Don't feel bad because I told a grown man this earlier this week, so it ain't just you. Because I definitely told that nigga the same thing, a bunch of bull crap. So you called me with this folly, but I ain't seen your funky behind around here damn day. Got a vehicle now, what's your excuse? Oh, I be tired. I be tired too, nigga. What's your point? Do the preacher, and
They said that.
He did.
I know he did.
Because that's what most people gonna say. You got to be there. So it don't matter if you tired or not. That's no excuse. See, let me tell you something, right? No, what it comes down to is this here, right? Everybody's gonna be held accountable for the same thing. The only difference is if you don't preach, you still gonna be held accountable for the words that you say out your mouth. If a person do preach, he gonna still be held accountable for the words he say out his mouth. It's just he gonna be held accountable for what he thought on top of whatever he uttered out of his mouth. There is no difference. There's no difference. See, he had in his mind that the Sabbath is the day you just get ready to lay down and go to sleep. No, I gotta go shoot. This is a rest day. I ain't got to go to work. And that's why I mentioned that last night. The Sabbath was never about you not going to work. It was about a day unencumbered for you to completely focus on Yahuah and stop focusing on your doggone self. You got 6 days to think about you. You're really supposed to think about him every day. But that's one day where you ain't got nothing to do whatsoever. See, we don't even do it like they used to. Because I already know y'all don't have the mental fortitude to even last that long. Some people was in that word all day. Not no 2-hour session. All day. Not no, that's too early to get up in the morning. Them people got there at about 8, we would say about 8, 9 o'clock in the morning and would stay there till the sun went down. And they would worship and go through the word for the entirety of the day. See, the difference is you'll get up there for them crackers and go, or for yourself and go chase some money that's worth absolutely nothing. And won't chase the riches of everlasting life. You'll go get them 12, 16 hours of your time with no problem. Won't say not an word. Not an word. But when Yahuah say, let me get 3 hours of your time, you're like, shh. Woo! Well, it's been a long week. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying that for you because I told this nigga that. Because I'm like, nigga, so, nigga, I used to be out here till 4 o'clock in the morning, nigga, going on no sleep. Boy, I ain't missing that day. I don't want to hear that junk, especially not from no man. You know what I'm saying? I could get that from a lady. I really don't care. You know what I'm saying? Buddy took this video down when he was talking about that ladies, men don't care about your struggles because we know you don't care about ours. If I came in here and told you, maybe I wasn't able to do this, that, and the third, you gonna leave. You don't want to hear nothing about what I got to talk about. You gonna be like, well, you ain't figured it out, nigga. But if you make bad decisions, we supposed to be sympathetic and compassionate to that. We don't care. Figure it out in the same way. And then maybe you'll have more understanding for what men got to deal with. So when a nigga come telling me, oh, I be tired and I be there, I don't want to hear that junk, my nigga. I don't want to hear none of that. I got to be here 3 times a week regardless. I be tired. Shoot, nigga, I could be in the bed slobbing sleeping too. But guess what? Here I am. So I don't want to hear. I don't care. At the end of the day, we all got the same obligations, the same standard, so I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Because guess what? You know why I don't care? Because Yahuah don't care. That's why I don't care, because he don't care. Because guess what? If I was to go to him and pray, Lord, I'm tired. I got this going on. Can I take the day off? What you think he would say if he was literally in the flesh? Because he said something like this in the text. If you adapt enough in the word to correlate what I'm talking about, he told a man that in the text. You know what he told a man in the text that's similar to what I'm talking about? I narrowed it down for you. It's in the book of Luke. Yeah, but he say, man, let me go on back to the house and talk to my people. He said, man, putting his hand to the plow, looking back, ain't fit for the kingdom of Elohim. That means you want to do all this stuff over here before you do what I hired you to go do. That means I can't use you. You're not fit for this. You know what I'm saying? I can remember the first time reading that. That man's pretty much saying, boy, once you get on the grind, boy, you on the grind. Ain't no days off. Ain't no days off. Ain't no I'm tired. Shoot, you can rest in the kingdom. What you tired for? Because the Sabbath is not literally, and I get it on the aspect of how it's presented. You looking at the Sabbath like sleep because they focus on that word rest, and they don't really tell you what it means. You know what I'm saying? It means cease and desist. It doesn't literally mean go to sleep. Be lazy and do nothing all day. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how I present it. And the reason why we look at it that way, because you're working all the time. So you figure like, he saying no work? That means I can go to sleep. No, he was like, no work, and then have this set apart gathering and come learn about me, because I know that you ain't been getting no word like you supposed to, because you've been over here plowing the field, tending with your animals. So I know you ain't been going through it unencumbered like you would need to. So what I'm going to do, amen, Brother Craig, I'm going to set this day to the side, and all you got to do is rest in this word, so you can be able to get to the next Sabbath, and that whole entire week before that next Sabbath, you would know what would please me, and you would continually do it till I can see you again. You know what I'm saying? That's what that's about. Now, of course, in the land, they had synagogues and certain stuff where these people went up in there anyway, because the priests work every day. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no priest take no days off. Like, I done talked to brews like that. They be like, oh, yeah, man, I'm taking a week off. I know you who ain't hired you. I can see if you ain't preached during no week, because there ain't no obligation, technically, according to the tenets of the word. But boy, I don't see how nigga take no Sabbath off, because you just said F Yahuah and his people. That's what you really just said. I don't care how none of these boys feel about that. If you say I can take the Sabbath off, and you say that man sent you and hired you to do that job, you said F the people. You said whatever you had going on was more important than feeding the people that he gave you charge over. Because what did he tell them people? He said, if you're faithful over little, you're faithful over a lot. So if you can faithfully say, I'm going to take a couple weeks off because I need to recharge my batteries, I know you who ain't hire you. What days did the apostles take off? What days did Yahushua take off? Or were they there every day, on time? The traffic ain't never supposed to close. Well, what right or wrong? Well, that's the word of you. How the dope house close? How I can't never come through and get no work? You gotta tell me go watch a YouTube video. That's old nigga stuff. They ain't had no YouTube video back then. You had to pull up. You had to pull up. See, this is different now because you know if people who don't. Because if it wasn't no internet, nobody even know that niggas existed. But if you in the city, I don't care what congregation it is. I don't care who you kicking with, who you rocking with. Or if you say I stay to the house and you ain't on your deathbed, well, you supposed to pull up. There's a lot of congregations in this city. It's one of them that trash down the street from my house because it's a lady who's the pastor. I don't never see nobody in there. Now that joint right on session. You can still pull up. That was just dealing with the temple. That stuff that's done with. You still could pull up. I could understand if you just had the baby, you ain't pull up. Well, I had the baby on Wednesday. Let me show up on Saturday. Now, go ahead and stay to the house, man. Get yourself in order. You know what I'm talking about? But they ain't supposed to be like I just had a baby. Let me stay home for 6 months. You know what I'm saying? For real though. For real. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you got reason. I'm not talking about because that's an extreme scenario. I'm talking about somebody that's had a child. I'm talking about somebody who just be like, I don't feel like coming. I don't feel well. You don't feel that bad. Because how many of y'all ain't feel well, but you still took your back behind on them crack a dog, though? So that's what I mean when somebody say that, that's going to be my, I don't care. Because if you could get up and go do something else that directly benefits you, see, you ain't going to that job for the white folks. You're going for yourself because they pay you. You know what I'm talking about?
You got money.
You know what I'm saying? You're going because they pay you. If you could go to a family event, any type of function, and you ain't felt well, I don't care. If I could talk to you ever in your life and you said you went somewhere and you didn't feel well, that you didn't have to be, but you couldn't show up for your God, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? But see, that's the difference of having your mama and having your daddy. Because your mama going to be like, she don't feel well. He don't feel, Earl, he don't feel well. Your daddy be like, that nigga all right. Then tell that nigga get out there and rake that yard. You know what I'm talking about? Is he dying? Did he throw up anywhere? He got diarrhea? No, he just ain't feeling. Yeah, send that coward nigga out there and break my yard up. Yeah, that junk keep talking about. I don't care nothing about all that. Because you know you can, unless your mama old school, you know you can work mom dukes. Gotta play to a fit. That's my baby. Hold it out. You know what I'm saying? Unless you from the deep side, then she be like this here shoe, nigga. Be in that bed, I come back around here with you know what I'm talking about? Be in that bed. I'll show you, son. She's gonna whoop you out that bed. You know what I'm talking about? It's different now. Where they come from. See, your mama from a different time. But them niggas small. Them niggas ain't got no real choice. Shoot. Niggas ain't grown babies. I mean, Martin look like a grown man, but he ain't one. Now put him on the work then. What we at over there? No, I ain't done it now. Remember the word for oil? Shemin, Shan, Meme, and Noon. Chaos had to be consumed in order to bring forth life. See, that's what the doggone Ruach gonna do for you. See, let's just take a look at something in regards to the Ruach, just real quick, like in the Epistle of Hebrews, chapter 5. What's going on, Abby and Muffin Man? Are y'all over there fighting for position? Are you jockeying for position? Who's going to win? We can pick it up at verse 8. Muffin Man, you always acting like you just woke up. Like you got an attitude because you still sleepy. Don't nobody believe you, boy. Nobody believe you, boy. He said, though he were a son, that he learned obedience by the things which he suffered. So the things that he suffered is emblematic of the chaos that had to be consumed in order to bring forth life. Sin has to be consumed. That's the only way you can get the Ruach is sin must be consumed. And being made perfect, he became the author of eternal salvation unto all that obey him. Because we read that last night, right, in John 14. He said, if you love me, you'll do what? He said, then I will give you what? The Ruach of truth. He said that the world cannot receive because it neither knows him not, nor has seen him. Well, why has the world not seen the breath of Amat, or the breath of faithfulness? Because they don't know it when they hear it, and they don't believe it when they see it. Do you recall what we read the other day in John chapter 10? What did he say about them people? In John 10 and 25, he had a conversation with the people. They said, if you be the anointed one, tell us plainly. What did he tell them? He made a plain statement. He said, I've already told you, and you believe not. If you didn't believe me for my words, you should believe me for my work's sake. My sheep hear my voice, and they follow me. You believe not, because you not as my sheep as I have told you. So when you go to dealing with the Ruach, because you see chaos is being consumed, you would have to believe that Yahushua was crucified, died, and resurrected the third day in order to receive it, because he that believe on me, as the scripture has said, out of his belly flow rivers of living water. Individuals have not became that eaten oil, i.e. the individual who's seen that this man they have suffered as he has suffered, i.e. taking up their stake and following him, and then they don't believe the witness of it. Then you have the drink offering. We know what the drink offering is. This is the cup of my blood in the new covenant for the remission of sins. So, of course, you know, what does the text say happens to you, sir? If you take a sip of that cup, what does that say? What are you doing when you take a sip of that cup, according to the epistle letter in Corinthians? Oh, you a little slow on your feet? You got your secondas on, you're supposed to be swift.
Now, there's a couple of things I'm thinking about. You partaking maybe with them.
Partaking in what?
Oh, his death.
Yeah, you should have rolled with that.
He said he was eating his apple, bro.
Oh, he was eating his apple? Oh, you've been talking to the serpent in the garden. Who told you that? Did a doctor tell you that?
White man.
But indeed, that's what it said in Corinthians, though. Every time you drink that cup, you're doing what? You're showing forth his death till he comes. So you're taking the beaten oil, you're taking the suffering, and byproduct of the suffering is the death. Let's return to Exodus 29. Did you put your deodorant on today? Or is you a musky baby? All right. Now notice what type of animal has to be offered at evening. What did John the Baptist say about Yahushua in regard to being the lamb? Don't nobody know what John the Baptist said? He said, this is the Lamb of Elohim, which take away the sins of the world. Now let's look at this here, right? Other lamb offered at even. It said it had to have the 10th field. The lamb has to be mingled with a fourth part of hen of beaten oil. I didn't want to look at mingle. Oh no. It took me all the way back to the beginning. Had a whole. Yes, bro. Huh? What you cooking for? Huh? You want your butt kick? Now listen, right? You have balal for mingle. That's bat and two lamads. Of course, it means to mix, to confuse, to confound. Now, of course, we know Yahushua wasn't mixed. That oil has to be mixed with the lamb. So you got bat, lamad, and lamad. We've already discussed that. Y'all back there look like y'all doing something you ain't got no kid because I see teeth.
Sorry, come here.
Uh-oh. I ain't over there.
Sorry, you know what?
No.
Okay, never mind.
Now, we just talked about the oil, the beaten oil. That's in regards to someone being subdued. You're talking about the oil. That means chaos has been consumed. This is what the lamb has to be mixed with. And the word for mingled here is balal, bat, lamad, and lamad. All you would take that first lamad and you use your rod or your chastisement. You take your second lamad and you'll use teach. And then you take the son. And what is that? What do you have? The rod has taught the son. It's what he had to be mingled with, because we just read that he learned obedience from the things that he was. We just talked a couple weeks ago. He said, if you beat your son with the rod, you'll do what? Spare his soul from hell, meaning you'd have to correct him. See, he corrected you so you would not perish. See, that go back to what I was talking about last night. How niggas be like, What did we read? What did the Ethiopian eunuch say to Philip when he said, "You understand what you read"?
I know, but man, teach me.
That's somebody who's will. If you're willing to be guided by the shepherd's staff, that means you're willing to be corrected by that same shepherd. Most individuals are not willing to do that. That's why they say, "I don't need no teacher. The Ruach my teacher." And I know why people like that. You got a bad taste in your mouth. But you have to sit back and look at right. A lot of people carry your spiritual baggage. Nothing. Turn around and face front. Put your feet on the ground. Thank you. It's like this here, right? You'll find it doesn't matter, male or female, doesn't really matter. If an individual had an interaction with the opposite gender that was negative, they carry that negative baggage from that interaction with them to the next person that they encounter. And then individuals do the same thing in the word. That's why you have the proliferation of, "I don't need no teacher," or "the Ruach my teacher," or "you don't need no man to guide you," and all this other type of stuff, when that has never been the case. Because when you had the opportunity, y'all all in here already know it. When you had the opportunity to be guided by Elohim himself, what did you do? No, I'm talking about it's a specific instance. Y'all, if you sit back and think about it, you know the exact instance what I'm referring to. When you had the opportunity to get word directly from Elohim, what did your forefathers do?
Kill the prophet.
No, not that. What'd you say, ma'am?
I said they didn't want it.
Yeah, they didn't want it. They say, "Don't talk to us no more, lest we die. Let him do it." So that's when you told him, "I don't want to hear directly from you. I'd rather hear it from a man." You made that choice. So that's when, and I'm mentioning that because that's not to dig myself up, because I'm just a cog in the engine. You can go anywhere in the world, and the situation is still going to be the same. You know what I'm talking about? And on top of that, when you look at the men who are equal footing, as far as offices is concerned, those men were still subject to each other when they were all together in each other's presence. Nobody, you ain't look at it and say, "Bump all you nigga, I ain't listening to Philip. Philip can't teach me nothing who this nigga is." No, that's not what they did. That's whole nigga stuff. You know what I'm saying? Dead serious though. That's weak men type of stuff. All those men were a see, like I told you the other day, when people kept sharing that verse before in Ephesians, "Submit yourselves one to another," then wives submit yourselves. They trying to make it seem like the husband and the wife supposed to submit to each other. And he was talking about aforetime men in the assemblies when he got to "submit yourselves one to another," meaning each man should yield to each other or be humble in their interaction with one another. He wasn't talking about no man submitting to his wife. That's not what he was talking about. See, when I told you it again, I'm going to say it again. That simp mentality. You got dudes who teach the word and they still teaching men to simp. You know what I'm saying? Again, we've discussed it. I'm going to always reference it when we had this conversation. The text tells you, "He that ruleth amongst men must be" what? Just. So if a man has rule over this woman and he's righteous, then it shouldn't be no problem with him ruling. See, this is what the problem is. These women pick weak, trash can niggas. And then you come to somebody who do know how to rule, who's going to demand that he gonna rule, and then you want to call him a misogynist and kids against him. Nobody told you to mess with a low-hanging fruit. Nobody told you to do that. That's your problem. That's an example of you bringing baggage. I use that, and again, that's correct. So Ron said the same thing. When you had a chance for Yahuah to be your king, you asked for Saul. So we only use Yahuah as our leader and director when you don't want to follow directions. That's the same thing that natural or Christian women use when they ain't got no husband that they don't want to listen to. "Jesus is my husband." No, he's not your husband, because he would have divorced you a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? Just for the simple fact you don't listen. You know, y'all remember that was the saying a couple years back, "Will get you a girl who can live." If I have to say that out loud, if that's a joke, that means that theoretically women of our people were stating that I am rebellious, uncooperative, and don't want to follow. Because that was a "get you one who will listen." Oh, I don't listen. And they're posting about that. That's a joke. You telling niggas, don't mess with her. If a woman came and told me, "Oh, I don't listen," and I'd be like, "Shoot, I don't either." Because when you call, I'm not going to listen to the phone ring. I'm not going to answer. But do y'all recall that time? That wasn't even what a couple years ago, right? Boasting and bragging about you don't listen. Like that's something proud to be stubborn. Because what if somebody's telling you something right to do and you not listening? What if somebody say, don't walk out there in the street, there's snakes out there. I don't listen. Now you walk out there and get bit by snakes. Now you gonna blame the nigga who told you not to go in the street for getting bit by snakes, even though he told you it was snakes in the street.
Stop me.
You were supposed to stop me. That's what they say about Adam and Eve. Why he ain't stop her from listening to the serpent? Why should he have? She knew what to do. Where's the accountability for your actions? It doesn't exist. Well, what you over there looking at, boy? That boy spaced out over there. Boy, I see things. Colors. Shapes. Yeah. Where we was at beforehand? I'm done at Exodus 29. Oh, yeah. It was in Psalm 141. Back here in verse 2, right? Now, right, the lifting up of my hands as the evening sacrifice. So when did he lift up his hands as the evening sacrifice? This is an easy question. When he was on the stage. Spread out his hands, boom. Now as that evening sacrifice, how is he as the evening sacrifice when his hands are spread? Because while he was on that stake, he was being mingled with what? Eating oil. He had already took the drink offering before he went up there. Now he is that evening sacrifice. How is he that evening sacrifice? Well, let's look and see just on general principle. In Matthew chapter 27. Grandma, where's my money? You got my money? Where's my money? Make a fool of me, bro. Don't make a fool of me. Grandma, where's my money? Grandma, where's my money? 27 and 45. Where's my money? Matthew 27 and 45. Now from the 6th hour there was darkness over all the land until the 9th hour. This is to do what? To make him that evening sacrifice. What time will we equate the 6th hour with being now? That's 3 o'clock. That's 3 o'clock. So it's middle of the afternoon. That can't be the evening sacrifice. They do the evening sacrifice as what? At the going down of the sun. So when it comes to 6, because you know at that time at 6 o'clock roll around, what do them people do? They shut it down. Yeah, they shut everything down. For all intents and purposes, them people worked and did what they did from 6 to 6. It wouldn't matter if it didn't get dark till 10 o'clock at night. They worked from 6 to 6. That's how they operate. First hour of the day was the 6th hour. They went from 6 to 6. That's how they roll. So we look at that because there's another aspect of Exodus 29. I almost forgot about it that we're going to have to look at. He's saying about the 9th hour, Yahushua cried with a loud voice saying, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. That is to say, my Elohim, why have you forsaken me? Now, in John 19, what did it state about what they needed to do with his body? Before the sun go down. You know what I'm talking about? Now I want you to come back to Exodus 29. Because like I said, I almost forgot an element of Exodus 29 that I desire. I love it getting the throne. 29 and 42. Oh, excuse me. 29 and 41. Now, I want y'all to look over 29 and 41 in the book of Exodus and tell me what statement stands out the most. Because it tells you that the other lamb that offered that evening, the same meat offering of the morning and the drink offering had to be done. What stands out in verse 41? Granny. Hey, Granny. The sweet savor. Let's look at the first word, which is sweet. It's no ne koach. You got noon. $29 and $41. Yes, sir. You got noon, cough, cotton, cot. No, that looks like a ooh there. They got that just spell there. But that's noon, ooh, cotton, cot. It means soothing, quieting, tranquilizing, pleasant, a delight. What y'all done did to that baby? What they did to you, little muffin? They taking your vittles? Not you, the other little muffin. I know ain't nobody take your vittles because you would have already cried. You would have already made a ruckus.
Yeah, that's what I was.
No, it ain't. It ain't. They got the symbol in there that signifies a yard for the most time, but it's not. That's got to be a that junk spell weird.
Yeah, this one say no yard.
Come on. Yeah, it's got that symbol.
Oh, it say yard too though.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's ain't no yard in here. See how you have yours right there to signify that? I see the yard. But I'm looking at that. They don't go together. So that's why I said it. I see it.
The two spellings too.
Yeah.
But this one do got an O.
No.
It still got a yard in it too.
I wasn't saying. That's why I said yard the first time. I see it. But I was looking at this here. There's no correlation here.
Even in this one at the top of that.
Yeah. That's why I said like I'm like this is weird. I see a yard. And
this one got it though. This one got the yard.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yours do, mine don't. But I definitely seen the yard there. So you got a noon, a yard, a cot, and a cot. No, I knew I wasn't tripping. I'm like, that's a yard.
The root ain't got no yard. That's the root.
Yeah, see, I remember Newark, and Newark don't. I got that noon, ooh, and cot. I knew I wasn't going crazy. I ain't no expert. I ain't no dummy either, though. So you remember we got noon, yard, cot, and cot. Oh, the days are just scooping you up, baby, long ago.
Son's work is separate and protect.
He said the son's work will separate and protect you. You okay? E3, what's up, boy? You all right? He ain't gonna take the laptop down. He ain't gonna do nothing but injure himself. And I'm gonna let him learn that lesson. Anybody else noon, yard, cot?
How to say protection of the sun and separation.
Protection of the sun and separation. Now let's look at savor or offering because savor's not there. For some reason.
I got savor.
Yeah, mine doesn't.
They ain't in salad.
It just say sweet offering made by fire. Yeah, I don't have mine.
Yeah, I got
well, it might be because they got this junk in all types of different orders, so it might be that.
Fragrance, aroma.
And they show the junk. Nah, it ain't on there. But let's do that up. Now, for first thing, we got the burnt offering. You got rayat, which is for your Raj. We done dealt with that word before. Raj, yad, and cot. Remember, this is an odor of soothing. You seen that sweet means to tranquilize, which also means to do that there. So you look at it and you see the works that are separated the highest. Now let's look at Ephesians 5:1, because that's why I asked you what should come to mind why sweet savor should stand out. Grandma, why you went over there? What you doing? Oh, you read. Ephesians 5:1, be you therefore followers of Elohim as dear children, walk in love as Mashiach also loved us, and had given himself for us an offering, a sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet smelling savor. with fornication and all uncleanliness, covetousness, let it not be once named among you as becomes the faithful. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather giving of thanks. For this you know, that no whoremonger, nor unclean person, nor covetous man who is an idolater, have any inheritance in the kingdom of Mashiach and of Elohim. Let no man deceive you with vain words, for because of these things become the wrath of Elohim upon the sons of disobedience. Be not you partakers with them. Now, when you look at that evening sacrifice, it says it gives off what? A sweet-smelling savor. Well, sweet-smelling savor is acceptable or delightful in the sight of Elohim. He will accept it. When you see Yahushua being on that stake at nighttime, he is that evening sacrifice. That's why he say, my prayer and my hands are stretched out as, or my prayer is as incense, and my hands are stretched out as the evening sacrifice. It's given the similitude and the alluding that Yahushua would fulfill what is written of the evening sacrifice. You had a morning sacrifice, you had an evening sacrifice. He is symbolizing the evening sacrifice on being on the stake. He's even symbolizing being the morning sacrifice when they first put him up there. He's doing both at the same time because both have the same requirements. A fourth flour of mingled beaten oil and a drink offering. See, the drink offering on the second go round is when? For the evening sacrifice. When they gave him the bitter wine. Because what does it tell you in Lamentations? We didn't read it last night. It said your Nazarites, you gave him what? You gave him wine. Tried to give him wine and strong drink. They tried to give him wine and strong drink. And what did he do? He declined it. Because at this point, he's about to be sanctified. He already took his last sip of wine. He already told you, I won't drink the fruit of the vine till I drink it new with you in your father's kingdom. That's why he turned it down. I don't want that. Because he got to keep his word. He going in the grave as a Nazarite. And if we look at it going in as a Nazarite, because you know that's another thing that dudes who don't like to believe in Mashiach like to play. When it said in Matthew, what it said he shall be called. What does Nazarene mean? You know what Nazarene mean? Who don't know what Nazarene mean? Okay, you might have not. You might have missed that. It's been a long time. It's been a long, long time. So I can't hold that to you. You know what Nazarene mean?
There you go. Good job.
Muffin, you remember what a Nazarene mean? Oh, that's unfortunate. What about you, sir? Yeah, the actual definition of it. Antoine, you know what Nazarene mean? Stanley done slid it out there. Y'all ain't catch it. What about you? Close enough. He said vine. Close enough. It means branch. Actual word would be netzar in there. Actual mean branch. So if you hear he say he shall be called the branch, then automatically, that's right, Kira. I got you, Saran. Show you right. If you got it that it's called branch, then what come to your mind? Isaiah 11 should come to mind. Jeremiah 23 should come to mind. And that's letting you know that it's referring to the same person. But that's the games that people play. See, I'm telling you this for one reason and one reason alone. This is the proof positive why the Sabbath is that highly important. Because you got to know your truth. Because the devil know his lie. He know it well. And he know the verses just like you know them. But if you don't understand them, it'll make you think you're reading a lie. You know how many people been tricked? That's why they say they take captive silly women laden with diverse lusts. See, it's easy to get women because y'all desire a whole bunch of different things. So all it takes is a man to come through and lie to you. That's all it takes. That's all Satan. That's why they always play on the women.
Silly.
I know that right. Karen said she remember that. She said I was the only one on the phone. It's been some years. It's been good about 6, 7.
Another different definition for Nazarite.
Yeah, it is in numbers. It's a different definition. Definitely a different definition. Because of course they're telling you of the branch that's taking you back to that goodly vine in Isaiah 5 that he planted and that you the fruit. That's why he said, I'm the vine, you the branch. See, that's a whole nother conversation. But the reason why I'm mentioning that is because, like I said, that's not no knock on women. You can see that in the society. 80% of the consumer base is women. 2/3 of the consumer debt is held by women. You look at most of the products that marketed, it's to appeal to women. The oddity and all of that, the number one supporters of the WNBA are men. Something that's made by women and played for by women is largely supported by middle-aged white men. Women don't watch the games. They don't buy the merchandise. They don't go to the games. Middle-aged white men. And people can't understand it. Why is this so? But we know why it's so. Because y'all don't want to look at bullbaggers play basketball. You like to look at muscular men with little outfits on and say, well, look at his quads. Everybody know that. Y'all can see back and look crazy. Ain't no woman like, woo, I'm stoked to see Don Staley. Like, woo, ooh, that's going to get me going. I don't like women. She's sitting there looking at that shoe. Kobe going to be on, such up be on, that nigga fine. And they watching it for that. Because the average woman is not watching basketball for the fundamentals. Did you see that 2-3 box zone they just ran? Did you see that high pick and roll? They say that's why the older white men watch it, because they like fundamental basketball. You know what I'm saying? Because the average casual fan is watching it for the athleticism. You know what I'm saying? And people who into the game are watching it for the aspects of the game. Because most people ain't watching NFL football because they really care about cover 3. They can look at it and say, oh, them boys in the cover 6. Oh, that's a zone blitz. He better rotate the safety coming over here. No, what did you see how hard he hit that nigga? That's what you want to see. I enjoy it. But I told a nigga I did that in prison. I said, hey, boy, they finna zone blitz. Boy, that nigga finna throw a pick. Boy, I see it. He don't see it. And they were like, well, how do you know they're playing mad? Straight up and down. Do dirty house. No, I ain't have to go to do dirty house. You know what I'm talking about? Shoot, sometimes I played it in the trap. You know what I'm talking about? But I watch it for that, though. You know what I'm saying? You can sit back and you can see what they finna do. But the average person is not, and them women ain't watching it for that. They want to see them niggas got them tight pants on and them niggas got money. I need to see what he look like as he come through my time. Look at you. You sound like oh, come on.
I know. I used to want to be on the Jaguar. I was a player. I got
So you can get you a player, huh?
Yep. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, they ain't supposed to mess with a cheerleader, but that don't stop them. That just rules.
That's the problem.
No, but seriously though. I mean, of course, now I know most of you don't watch television, so you don't see commercials anymore. If you watch YouTube and you ain't got premium, you probably see a commercial or two, and it's always something that's gonna lend to a woman unless they personalize your commercials from what you click on. You know what I'm saying? Thankfully, I don't see any commercials anymore, so I don't have those problems because I hate them. But if you watch a football game, you see plenty. But again, like I said, that's not no knock because they know that you're emotional creatures. So they're going to, and emotional doesn't always mean that you're sitting around crying in a corner. It means you have desires and you're led by them. It means you're going to make less logical decisions. You're going to make decisions based on how you feel. Most women are impulse buyers. How many times have some of you said you went in a Target for one thing and left with 15? Muffin said yesterday. You know what I'm saying? But why is that the case? She said it all the time. That what happened. She said, I can't go in there. Well, I remember when we were younger, boy, and fat boy be like, yeah, boy, my mom finna go to the store, boy, we finna drop off and slide, because he already know what time it is. She'll call me when she ready, because if we go in that store with her, we finna be in here for 4.5 hours. You only came in here for steak and fries. That's all you came in here for. Why is there 37 other things in the cart? Muffin looking like, yeah, shoot it. I seen it was a sale. Was it necessary? If it was necessary, it would have been identified before you arrived.
It would have been in your list.
That nigga turned his head like, don't you bring this foolishness on me.
Good job, brother. That's all I need to hear. Stand it.
Nigga ain't never upset with the person because the nigga gonna use it. The whole point of the matter is you told me you were going for 3 items. Why are there 20 bags? You know what I'm talking about? Because you don't walk in there, hold on, and y'all be, because I know what you're doing, because I be in the store with that. Y'all niggas be on the phone talking to each other. Girl, look what I just seen. I'm gonna grab that. I done seen you do it.
Oh my God. Right. She was like, they got sale on shoes.
Mmm.
Why you told me can't sell it?
It's too late. You done planted the seed. No, watch it grow. Come on, man. Let me get on. Leave y'all fight me so long. Now let's look at this here, right? Of course, you know this is a sweet savor offering made by what? Fire. So you're dealing with what? The furnace of affliction. Begin to, and I'm referencing this for a reason, because that's why they don't want Elohim in the house. That's why they don't want a man in the house, because there'll be no leader in the house. Because who leads the man? The man is being led by Hamashiach, so that he can lead the household. When you take out the foundation of reason, guidance, correction, and direction from out of the house, that leaves a woman to her own devices to be led by her feelings. That's why they send niggas like Al Sharpton and what his name is, a Creflo Dollar, individuals of that ilk. Because and I'm not using this to poke on Christian pastors. I don't care nothing about it. But how many of you ever sat back and watched televangelists, if you will, watch the preachers on TV? You used to watch TD Jakes? You like TD Jakes, didn't you? Well, he said, "Mate." Hey, but see, Mace was trained by Creflo Dollar. Yeah, that's who trained him.
He was fine.
Who, Creflo Dollar? Shoot, to get that money. Nah, that nigga Mace, they say one time that nigga Mace passed the correction plate around and it was only $80 in it. And that nigga passed it back and said, "This is unacceptable. Put some more money in it." I wish I would lie. Well, I wish I would lie.
That's what's supposed to do, man. Entertainment. Kevin Sherman do the same thing.
But he ain't no preacher.
He ain't either. He a content creator.
That nigga say Mace ain't either. He a content.
Straight up.
But the reason why I'm mentioning them is because preachers of that ilk usually play to the emotions of people. And what do they play to? The desire for wealth. And most men know that you have to go out and earn wealth. Most women do not understand what is necessary to earn wealth. So when they hear talking about sowing a seed and giving this and giving that, that's why you can see how so many more women donate their money. You know what I'm saying? What I'm telling you? Because the average man he know the Lord ain't blessing him with no money. Not just no money out the sky because he sent you $200 and I'm gonna get $3,000 back. Most men have enough sense to know if I'm gonna get $3,000, I'm gonna have to put in X amount of man hours on whatever I'm doing to get $3,000 back. That's why I would be messing with Big Grease. Because Big Grease say he got like that, trying to sow a seed to get some money back. I say, yeah, that's how, man, you needed some men around you, son, because you ain't supposed to win for that. Because at the end of the day, most people are not wealthy. Shoot, that's not even say wealthy. Most people are not rich. Most people are not above the ability where they can not work for 6 months straight and have enough cash on reserve to sustain all their bills and live comfortably for 6 months if they didn't earn a single solitary dollar from that moment forward. You know what I'm saying? For the most part, everybody's living in 30-day increments. Mass majority of the people in the United States of America are living on 30-day increments. But see, that's not check and check. Check and check is 7 to 7, 14 to 14 days. Now, but I'm talking about most people are living from 30-day increments, month to month.
I feel why you say that. Most people even get paid.
Most people live in month to month, 30-day increments. So when you're looking at living in a 30-day increment, you can't take that L. If somebody is telling you and you have it in your mind that God is some magical money genie, you know what I'm talking about? And you want some bread and you thinking, well, the pastor said if I send him $300 and I sow this seed, I get $2,500 back. that's going to be more inclined because the woman is not thinking about getting money in order to build a community of a people. She's thinking about what she can go purchase. I get these $2,500. I can buy this new bag. I can get the new wig. You know how much more money our people will have if these bald-headed hoes stop buying wigs and just let their hair grow? Just let it grow, ho. Just let it grow. I seen a woman put a wig on the other day. She, oh Lord. I was like, Lord have mercy. And you talking about spending how much them wigs be costing, right? Anywhere from $300 to $1,000. But shoot, that's why they like to walk around here with the busted wig.
That's what's going on right now. Niggas need to clown for wigs. They can have tracks and
Shoot, it don't matter. Wig, tracks, bald-headed backs, it don't make no difference. All that junk back. And you spending a lot of money for it. Now imagine how much that money could have went to the financial viability of yourself or your household that you wasted on hair. And you know why you wasted it on hair? Because you were too lazy to comb your own. Always talking about a protective style. How does a protective style cost $500? You definitely wasn't protecting your bank account. Can't spare no expense on protection. But your son around here talking about chicken nugget. Chicken. What's 2 plus 2, Johnny? 17. You know what I'm saying? And that y'all don't make no sense. But they appeal to it because they know that y'all will go for it. Especially if there's no man to stop you. I just heard a woman say she made more money, and her husband had charge of the finances, but then because she felt like she made more money, that he couldn't tell her what to do with the money. And she was spending it frivolously on nonsense. And she think he trying to control me. Now Tavon said he say literally check to check because without cash, e-cash, check money be gone. Say anything break down, you can't pay it to the next one. Shoot, depending on what break down, you might not get a next one.
Let any car sit off a breakdown. That money just never came.
Just never came. Well, it's been people that money ain't never came. Shoot, I can come get that. Come pick him up. Shoot, I call you.
Yeah, that was that. You have to get in. Before I pay for the expenses in, and know he can have it.
He can have it. You know what I'm talking about? And they be talking about, what about your credit report? Credit D nuts. He come get him. But let's look at the main thing while we're here in verse 42 of Deuteronomy 29. He said, there shall be a continual burnt offering throughout your generations at the door. Well, I will meet you and I will speak with you there. Now we want to talk about continual, which you know is tamed. Y'all know that's for perpetuity, continually. So what does this mean that this will be a continual burnt offering? Hebrews chapter 7. I got to speed it up a little bit. Tell me, man, how old you is, boy? Boy, I think you're a little older than that. Hey, go to your room. Go to your room. You 6? Hebrews 7:24. How old you at, Bird?
4.
Guess what you finna be?
5.
That's right, 5. 7:24. But this man, because he continue ever, have an unchangeable priesthood. Wherefore he is able also to save them to the uttermost that come unto Elohim by him, seeing he ever lived to make intercession for them. For such a high priest became us, who is Kadash, harmless, undefiled, separate from sinners, and made higher than Shamahim, who need not daily as those high priests to offer up sacrifice, first for his own sins and then for the people. For this he did once when he offered up himself For the Torah make men high priests which have infirmity. The word of oath, since the law, make the Son who is consecrated forevermore. So the simple fact that the Son of Elohim is in the Kadash of the Kadash, he is a continual burnt offering as he stands in the temple, literally by his existence. There is no need for them to continually make the evening sacrifice, because by reason of his presence, he is the morning and evening sacrifice. Does that make sense? Let's continue back to Exodus 29. Because remember, what is that evening and morning sacrifice about? It's about doing what? Making atonement or purging or reconciling for the people. But look after this here, after he makes this evening sacrifice, look at the next thing that he states. And there will I meet with the sons of Yasharal, and the tabernacle shall be sanctified by my esteem. The tabernacle is not there, so it's just Kadash. So you know that's to consecrate, to keep, to be holy, to honor is sacred, this, that, there, and the third, to keep oneself sacred, to cause himself to be hallowed of Elohim. So when he make this evening sacrifice, it's going to be continual, and this is where he'll meet you at, which is at the door. So when Mashiach resurrected from the dead and they met him at the door, because he is the door. He already told you that, did he not? So think about this in this regard. After the evening sacrifice is made, now he will meet with you. Let's look at meet. Now, when you look at meet, that's Yah. That's the word you know, to meet, to set, to assign, to designate, to meet by appointment, or to gather, or to assemble. He is going to meet you, and he has sanctified by his esteem. Y'all know when Yahushua came, he said, look, behold me. He has been sanctified by the esteem of the Father, by the resurrection. And then he says, I will sanctify the tabernacle of the congregation, the altar. I will sanctify also Aaron and his sons to serve me in the priest's office. And what did Yahushua do with his apostles? After he had given them the information of the gospel, he poured the Ruach upon them, and he sanctified them so they could minister in the priest's office. Cut it out. Cut it out. And he said, I will dwell among them and be their God. So if he's dwelling among them, what is this signifying? That this evening sacrifice is allowing you access to the Ruach HaKadosh. Now, of course, he said, let my prayer be as incense. Y'all know that's in the book of Revelation. Do you not? You know that, right? Well, let's look at the word for incense in Psalms 141. Now, of course, you know that's Ketaret, that's Kuf, that's Tet, that's Rosh, and that's Tav. So we take this Kuf and this Rosh, and you have the last Adam. The last Adam was filled with the covenant. Or you can take that covenant and be filled with the Ruach. Why is that important? Because whose prayers does he hear? Let's go to Psalms 34. We won't delve off into Psalms 34, but let's go to Psalms 34. Psalms 34 and 9. Make it 8. Shoot, make it 6. Psalms 34 and 6. At this point, I've been unread. Oh, no, that's 22 verses. I didn't read it. He said, the poor man cried, and Yahuwah heard him and saved him out of all his troubles. The angel of Yahuwah encamped round about them that fear him and delivers them. We've seen that with Mashiach, did we not? How that Malachim came to assist him. He said, oh, taste and see that Yahuwah is good. Blessed is the man that trusts in him. I remember we just talked about that last night. What did that verse say last night in Lamentations? It's better for a man to get hit with what? Than to be what? Hungry. Because he is not going to be able to, he will not be able to get the produce or the fruit of the field. See, it's better for you to be cut with the word than to hunger for the word. That's why he say, come tasting to see that Yahuwah is good, or come sit down and eat at his table. Let's continue. Oh, fear Yahuwah, you his faithful, for there is no want to them that fear him. The young lions do lack and suffer hunger. But they that seek Yahuwah shall not want any good thing. You see that go right back to what we were talking about in that Lamentations. He said the young lions suffer for lack of hunger, or suffer hunger. Because they lack. What are they lacking? They're lacking the word. See, and again, that's why I say I mentioned that because I told him this myself. Like, I wasn't messing with him just to mess with him because he called asking about New Jerusalem. And I used that to illustrate that point, that the Sabbath is for gathering, for the learning of the word. See, everybody get caught up on, I don't deal with camps and this, that, there, and the third. Did Yahushua say that to them? Or did he say, these men sit in Moses' seat? See, we get caught up on these individuals versus what you supposed to do what the man told you to do. Like I say, in Jacksonville, Florida, I would wager that it's probably a good, maybe probably 50 to 100 assemblies of individuals who gather on this city every week. And it could be more than that. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Because see, a lot of people look for being somewhere where it's a bunch of people. Some people where it's a small amount of people. I know I can think off the top of my head. You got us. You got Boone Church here. You got, I don't know if ISUPK still here. I don't think they still here. They used to meet at the library on Edgewood. Yeah, so I don't think they still here. I know you got IUIC here. Well, shoot, if your man went to jail, the GMS probably ain't here no more. They still might be here though. That's IUIC. The purple and gold. Yeah, that's IUIC. Yeah, they building this on Edgewood. I didn't know they were done. And then you got the Spirit of Yah, you got them boys there. I'm trying to think of who else it is. They might be with, it's another group. They down with Boone Church, but I don't know their name. So it escapes me right now. Yeah, that's Spirit of Yah. That's your side of shit. And I'm trying to think. That's all that I know that say, hey, we bruise and we follow the book. You know what I'm talking about? I know it's more. Because there's too many people here to sit back and think that, oh, it's just us. It's a million people living in metropolitan area. Shoot, live in Jacksonville, period. You know what I'm talking about? So if you're talking about a million people, you would probably say that a good 150 to 225 to 250,000 of them are probably going to identify with the word. 25% of a population is not a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? Jacksonville also is about 30% black, 35% black. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you got Mike them straightway, so you know what I'm saying? So I forgot about them boys. No, them boy be out there working on that land. You know what I'm saying? So they be ducked off. Them boy be out there working on that land. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, this city like 35% black. So if you're talking about a city, so now I gotta take that back. So if you're saying a city that got 1 million people in it safely and it's 35% black, that's 300 to 350,000 black folks. So out of that 300 and 350,000, you would probably have to say safely maybe 50 to 110,000 of them might deal with that. It's probably closer on the low end. So you probably say probably about a good 50 to 80,000 people probably deal with the word out of that 300 to 350,000 people. So you have to know that there's congregations of all types scattered all over the city. You know what I'm saying? It'll be real short-sighted on our side to think, oh no, ain't nobody else out here. I forgot. Then you got the boys that were down with I can't remember their name because they go live all the time. They be at the hotel over there off JTV. They were down with the brother Elijah up in he up in Indiana. We'll know their name, but their name escaped me though, man. I think it's the Israel Church in Jacksonville or something like that. But either way it go, them boys be over there at something like that. They be over there at the hotel on the hotels over there off JTB. And then you got Israelite Jacksonville or something like that. Them brothers that we met that time in Atlantic Beach. They don't like be physically mean. They jump be more virtual, but they down here too. That's it. Church of Jesus. That's what it name is. Church of Jesus in Jacksonville. Because I supposed to have been linked up with them boy last year. I talked to them boy last year around Pentecost time and shit. I ain't good at calling people. So I ain't talked to them since. Yes, sir, that's it. That's them. Show you right there. Them boy be right there on JTV. Be beating at the hotel. Let's come back to Psalms 141. Oh, I ain't finished Psalm 34. I'm sorry. 34 and 11. So I say just the name in them organizations, that was quite a few. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how many in each one, But there ain't no small amount of people. There's a lot of dudes in IUIC, I can tell you that. Verse 11. Come, you children, hearken unto me, and I will teach you the fear of Yahuah. Now he gonna teach you how to honor and reverence Yahuah. What man is he that desire life and love many days that he may see good? Keep your tongue from evil. First thing he's telling you is don't be running your mouth about things that are not good and that are disagreeable unto Elohim, and you'll see life. And keep your lips from speaking guile. You don't be around here lying. Depart from evil and do good. Seek shalom and pursue it. The eyes of Yahuwah are upon the righteous, and his ears are open unto their cry. That's why the prayers of the rest come over here to oh, I feel you, man. Come over here to Revelation 5. I can tell you this here, Sharon. It's always somebody.
That's it.
They might be ducked off and tucked off, but it's always somebody. No doubt, no doubt. Shoot, praise you indeed. Cause I can say on our end, like for the most part, shoot. I don't even be knowing how people be running cars. I know he said it was a blog talk. I ain't did one of them in years. You know what I'm saying? Sal hit me up the other day. I need to call that boy too.
He's still
Yeah. We seen him at Walmart. He's like, yo, nigga on YouTube. I'm like, man, I don't know this nigga. Who is this nigga?
You can't think.
Yeah, I ain't treating like nigga who you is. He definitely thought I knew him. You know what I'm saying? We walked out the door. He said, you know that dude? I said, no, I don't know that nigga. I ain't never seen that nigga before that in my life.
Well,
You said it's real.
he just ain't know. Well, no, I can't mention you.
Then I seen him one more time in his cable truck by witness. You know what I'm saying? But no, like I said though, and he didn't even know it. Like, why? Because I ain't gonna be like, nigga, who you in, nigga, talking to me? I'm like, yeah, okay.
That was my third time. I passed by one time in the truck. I passed by that second time. I got pulled over.
No, I'm like this here, right? It ain't like we just be going around like, how many of us are? Shoot, how many people in here? Shoot, without the kids, ain't no telling, shoot, because there's more kids than adults, I tell you that.
I say about 25 kids, about 20 adults.
That's something like that, about, shoot, probably about 30 children. I mean, got a lot of children. And what house? Definitely. Oh yeah. You talking about woo! What them niggas seen her come in that house on old? Them like, golly, they still coming? All them church. Then they looked up and realized they like, oh, all y'all married and all these kids? Yeah, what you thought? He was Baptist church? These ain't no Baptist church. Yeah, they had moved and now they done moved back because he had hit me up. They wanted to slide through because I'm like, yeah, man, y'all service be at noon. I said, yeah, them boys ain't coming. Not no manager. Not to turn around and we got to leave an hour later. The one thing about it, ain't no knock on y'all. My trap gonna close. Our trap gonna close. You know what I'm saying? But ain't none of y'all. I mean, obviously Muffin because we share the same womb. You know what I'm saying? And her husband didn't get on because of no doggone YouTube video. Shoot, nigga, I think it was what no YouTube video. You know what I'm saying? Well, none of that. Then shoot, the rest of y'all in here because of Troy, truth be told. And that because we used to be on a phone call, and a nigga who I don't even think deal with the word no more told him to get on the phone call. That's crazy. You know what I'm talking about? And then he was like, hey boy, you need to listen to him. That nigga sent me a friend request. That's how that went. But if you talking about going around promoting, oh, check us out. Oh no, I ain't never done that. Yeah, I ain't never done that. No, I ain't never done that. Oh, I think I'm finishing Psalm 34. Come back to Psalm 141. I work with it. Matter of fact, so we wasn't even dropping no. We might have been recording at that time, but I was working with it with Ed out there at the plant. You know what I'm talking about? At that time, it wasn't nobody but me, Muffin, and Nell. And of course, you know, Nell was there from the jump street. One no YouTube video, like boy found out about the word. That shit, that's what I'm on. That nigga was kind of loosely knew about that jump. That shit, that nigga doing with whatever she was doing. But yeah, we ain't never been on no mass promotion. Shoot, I don't even remember how he said he had found out Kira got put on by somebody who don't deal with the word no more. She around here, Crystal's goddess and mother of the earth type time. Yeah, straight up. I mean, so there's a lot of people. They were like, "Yeah, you need to check him out." This boy long gone from the word. That's how you know it ain't got nothing to do with me. This nigga that don't fool with you. Matter of fact, Kira is the only one still going from her town. But we had quite a few people from her town. That's the same thing with niggas in North Carolina. All them boys like they said, bump that nigga, I don't like him.
Yeah, he did show up at Carolina for a minute.
No, I ain't talking to DC, boy. That boy got married, man.
Really?
That was the last person we talked to. How about a year ago?
That boy down there around Kira way too. Then, cause you know I forgot how brother Kevin got on. But either way it go. No, I mean being like I heard of you, and now I want to come around here and hear what you talking about. Goldie, I have been friends with Goldie on YouTube here. Tavon said he been on YouTube since 2015. Boy, I wouldn't even know that.
Oh yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
That's my first.
Oh, we know, but you was around here being a Jezebel. Look, to a court. You took a dishonest woman, tried to make her honest. Almost lost a patch in his ear.
Get down, man. Down.
Come over here to Revelation chapter 5.
Sit down.
5 and 6. No, I didn't say that meaning, and that it ain't just us. I'm just using us as an example. Clearly, I can't speak for other people. But you will get people to hear what he want them to hear when he want them to hear it at the time that it needs to be heard. That's how that works. Now for other, and you know what I said that yeah, that boy out here, man, that boy on some other type of time now, man. I shoot a lot of people out here on some other type of time. Like I told you, I mentioned that to y'all last night, man. Everybody don't believe the word, so they deal with it for different reasons. You know what I'm saying? And when certain things arise, they walk away. And you looking at it because you thinking these people really believe the word when they really did. It's some people who don't fellowship around here, them boys still on the word. You know what I'm saying? That's not they leave from here, they put the word down, but it's been more of them who have than haven't, but that ain't because they left from over here. That's just because they got tired of, I don't want to do this anymore. You know what I'm saying? They ain't got nothing to do with that. Because I can think of a handful of brothers like this here, regardless of the doctrine they on, they still say, this is what I'm on. I deal with Yahuah, I serve Yahuah. Yeah, I'm not finna throw somebody in the butt. They don't follow our doctrine. Them niggas devil. I ain't play them type of games, man. Them boys on what they own. Oh, you read? I don't want the book. You ain't gonna shake my hand, girl. Wrong hand, son. You look a man in his eyes when you shake his hand. Grab your hand firmly, son. You a man, ain't you? You gotta grab it firmly. Do it. There you go. Do it like you mean it. You ain't no Nancy boy, is you? Revelation 5 and 6. And I beheld, lo, in the midst of the throne and of the four beasts, in the midst of the elders, to the Lamb as it had been slain, having 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 ruachs of Elohim sent forth into all the earth. And he came and took the book out of the right hand of him that sat upon the throne. And when he had taken the book, the 4 beasts and 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, having every one of them harps and golden vials full of odors, which are the prayers of the faithful. Well, how does the prayers of the faithful even make their way up there to be as let my prayer be as incense? Because that's what he just said in 9. It's because of what? They shunned evil. They learned to do well and to do good. They kept their mouths from lies. And they tasted and seen that Yahuwah was good. See, it's not a difficult thing. And of course, we know Yahushua did all of that because in his tongue was found no guile. He shunned evil and did good. And therefore, Yahuwah's ears were open unto his cry. That's why he was heard, because he reverenced and he honored him. Because he said, let me teach you the fear of Yahuwah in that Psalms 34 before he went into that great detail. See, we'll return to Psalms 34 on another day. Today is not that day. Psalms 141 and 4, or 3, actually. Psalms 141 and 3. Set a watch, O Yahuwah, before my mouth. Keep the doors of my lips. What does that mean? Set a watch. Of course, you know that's Shamra. That means to guard or to watch. He is asking for a guard or a watch from Yahuwah before his mouth to keep his lips. What does this mean? Now, guard, to keep in this verse is Nasar. That is to keep, observe, to guard with fidelity, to keep secret, to keep closed, to keep blockaded. Why would he ask to keep his mouth closed? Come on, Bird, sit on down.
There's two things that came to mind.
Go ahead and share, son.
One was, of course, when Pilate was trying to get him to speak, he going to a court and six violence, and the other one was me thinking about how before his death, he kept the scriptures pertaining to him, he opened his eyes. Yeah,
No, I'm with you. Amen, bro. But that right there, because that's how Daphne was. That came first. He came. Some of y'all wasn't here. That. When you hearing that right, why did he say, set a watch, O Yahuwah, before my mouth to keep the doors of my lips? Now, he mentioned that instance that when he was being questioned and sized, he did what? He did not speak. This goes back to what's in the Epistle of James. Again, the sheep silent before his shears. I can roll with that too, Ron. Where he say that if a man can control his mouth, he is a perfect man because he can bridle the whole body. So he's asking for you, because what did Yahushua tell you to do when you get brought in forth of your enemies? To not think or meditate on what you're going to say, but keep a guard and watch over your mouth. There's now the verse that he's mentioning in Isaiah 53 about being silent before. You don't have to do that in front of your enemy. See, now let's just use this here because this is an example of a natural example that's actually going down. These people had talked about Kwame Brown, however you might want to feel about him, for 2 decades. The man never said a word. You know what I'm saying? It's the same difference that Yahushua didn't say a word. But when he does open his mouth, he's going to open it in righteousness and judgment, and these people are going to be condemned. See, when you know that you're justified in what you're doing, you don't have to do that. See, he's asking for Yahuwah to keep a guard over his mouth because he'll give you the words to respond to those who come after you. See, we always think that we got to come out, and truth be told, that is a feminine mindset. To always have to respond, to speak, to defend yourself. Men don't have to do that if they know they're on the right side. If you've ever been in the presence of a strong masculine man and people have been disparaging him and he know that it's false, he has no need to try to prove people who he know are cowards and busters that he is just. He doesn't feel the need to do it. Doesn't feel the need to do it. But when he does speak, as I use that example in the natural, say with Kwame Brown, now those who are not authentically masculine are going to be embarrassed because now I can pull up your coattails, or as Yahuwah says in Nahum, I'm going to lift up your skirt so your nakedness can be exposed and people can see you for the coward liar that you are.
Don't do that.
Let me ask you this question, right? Did Yahushua speak to these people when he was suffering? And if he did, what did he say? And when I say this, I want you to begin from Matthew chapter 26, meaning when they put the plot together to come get him, it doesn't matter which book you look in, whether it's Matthew, whether it's Mark, whether it's Luke, or whether it's John. And those instances in the Gospels, when those people sized him, what did he say when he spoke to those people? Because see, I can tell you in Matthew 26, they asked him to swear if he was the son of Elohim. All he did was do what? Quote book. When they asked him, "Are you a king?" He said, "You said it." The other instance, they slapped him. He said, "What you hit me for?" If I said, he said, "You know," he said, "Y'all know what I taught in the synagogue and in the temples. Go ask them." That's what he told them people. They say, "What is your doctrine?" He said, "Man, I ever taught in the synagogue and in the temple in the street. If you know what I say, what I had to teach, go ask the people who listen to me, because I'm not finna sit here and tell it to you." Then he turned around and told them, "Hey, for this cause was I born, and for this cause I came in the world. Everyone that is of the truth, hear my voice." What is the truth? He said, "If I was a king, my servants would fight. That I be not be delivered to the Yahuah king, but my kingdom is not of this world." When he spoke, he had something of actual relevance to say that they could not handle. In fact, let's look at every instance of when he spoke to these people. Because the reason this is important, why he kept a guard, because Yahuah kept his mouth when he spoke. There was weight to his words. It just wasn't no random, "Why y'all killing me? Why you doing this to me?" Or "Y'all wicked." You know the average dude right now, "Oh, well, damn you." That's what most of the one white dudes gonna do. They gonna be out there cursing them people out. And when I say cursing them out, not using profanity, but cursing them, literally. Asking Yahuah to destroy them. Yahushua didn't do that. That man stood there and took that like a G, because he already knew what was gonna happen. I'm resurrected from the dead. I ain't worried about these people. Straight up and down. That's the difference of, and that's no disparaging to them, brothers. That's the difference between masculinity and insecurity in your masculinity. Insecurity in your masculinity says that I need to show myself to be overly aggressive, pressy, and pushy, that you doing something to me. This man is trusting in his father. I'm gonna resurrect from the dead, so I really don't care nothing about what none of y'all niggas talking about. You know what I'm saying? And I know I can go to my father and say, "Father, you know they killed me now. Yeah, don't worry about it. We get them niggas. Ain't even worry about it." Now we're gonna deal with from when they came and snatched him, which begins at about verse 57. So we'll pick this up at verse 63 in the book of Matthew, looking at what he said to these people after they snatched him. Verse 63, Matthew 26, Yahushua held his shalom. The high priest answered and said unto him, "I adjure you by the living Elohim, that you shall tell us whether you be the Mashiach, the son of Elohim." Yahushua said unto him, "You have said." His first response was, "You said I am." So you know why he's saying "you said I am," because you know that I am. Now, we done talked about that before. Y'all know how many times he done hit somebody with the "you say it." You know why he hit them with the "you say it," right? Because you know you making a statement. It's just like when I was younger, and people would be like, "Oh, you think you smarter than everybody?" No, you do, because that's what you said. I didn't say that, and I'm not acting like that. That's how you feel, because you're not versed in the information that we're talking about. See, the difference between me and most is the older dudes around my way was like, "Boy, you don't talk about things that you don't know about. So if you don't know about something, you keep your mouth closed." You know what I'm saying? Because the main reason they were telling us that is, if you talk about things and you don't know what you're talking about, you might be in the presence of somebody who do. And then when you get in the presence of somebody who do, they're going to embarrass you. Because now you're going to be exposed that you don't know what you're talking about. So it's better for you to keep your mouth closed so you don't be looking stupid. You know what I'm saying? Now, this ain't nothing I'm just talking about. This something niggas in our neighborhood used to tell us, "Boy, but you don't know what you're talking about. Close your mouth. Don't do that." That's something that every young man need to be told. Boy, if you don't know what you're talking about, close your mouth. Don't talk about things that you have no knowledge of. Has any of you ever been talking about something and then you in the presence of somebody who knew what they were talking about and they chose to embarrass you? Because you know some people, when they know you don't know what you're talking about, they choose to just go ahead and be quiet and then let you make a fool out of yourself. Then you have some who go ahead and choose to embarrass you and then let it be known that everybody in the room, he don't know what he's talking about. That's what makes people want to fight. At least with men. Because my homeboy told me that when I was locked up. That nigga little name was Yaya. No cap. Straight up. I'm talking about he had a Muslim name. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, "Man, you can't be doing that when you go out the road, or them niggas gonna want to fight." Man, I'm like, "Man, bump them niggas, bro." So I'm talking to a nigga, man, and we having a conversation, and that nigga wrong. I'm not gonna sit here and let this man walk around spewing incorrect information. That's what's wrong with niggas now. Some of y'all done sat down with your girlfriends and y'all know they was telling wrong information. You told her, I know that's right, girl. Puffing them up. Don't you like it? There's too many women walking around. Some of y'all done looked the girl dead in the face and told her she looked good. You knew she didn't look good. You knew that outfit did not compliment her figure. You knew that hairstyle wasn't nice. You beautiful. You know you done it. You know what men do? Rank on it. Yeah, you don't rank on it, boy. You know you ugly, boy. Nigga, like all jokes aside, boy, you need to change clothes, my nigga. You ain't going nowhere with me looking like that. Not mustard. Boy, Tommy walk around here mustard in the word. Lord have mercy.
Good. I know that to be honest.
Not an honest. Come over here, Matthew 27, verse 11. Not an honest mistake. Hey, one thing about it, boy. Now, all jokes aside, boy, you know you musty before anybody else do.
That's why I was waiting for explanation. Because I knew it was misunderstanding.
That boy said, I know this got to be a misunderstanding.
Oh, my goodness, man.
You know, girl, a lot of young girls will do like this here. Girl, you know such and such was musty. Why you ain't tell her? I mean, you exception to the rule. Huh, you been musty? Do what? I know you told me you did your sister like that. You don't play that? Well, clearly she didn't play it either, but she did what about it. How you know? You been examined? That nigga say she ain't smell. That nigga she ain't smell. She ain't smell. Took your white lady voice off then. Went ahead and put your black lady country voice on. She ain't smell. Yeah, don't let your friends walk around here being musty, man. You go ahead and tell them nigga, man, nigga, you stink. Straight up. The worst thing in the world is a stank woman. Not the worst thing in the world to encounter. A woman who stank, breath stank, vagina stank, underarm stank, that's just death in a bottle. You know what I'm saying? You just greatly offended. Because you just don't expect foul odors to come from no woman. You know what I'm saying? You get a stank, you might get a stank break bad. Maybe you ate some bad food. Maybe you ain't get a chance to pop a pin. But this bad vaginal health and underarm funk, it just ain't right. I never understood how women could know that she was about to participate in sexual activities with a man and her vagina be stank. You knew this man was coming. Boy, it don't take but 10 minutes to take a shower. Not a whole bath, a shower. Well, you knew, cause come on, man. You can't live that down. There's girls who we went to school with who married and all, and niggas still got stories they can tell about bad vaginal health. But they too young. That's a self-cleaning oven. I could believe that, Sean, that you met a lot of emasculated men in the hustle game, because it is. Matthew 27:11. I don't understand that one. Y'all ladies. Your lady parts is your most sacred part of your body. How that's that? Worst part is it's a man who's gonna enter in, stank cooch and all. It ain't right. He said Yahushua stood before the governor. The governor asked him, are you the Malik of the Yahudim? Yahushua said, you say it. After that, that's all he had to say. In the book of Matthew, in that account, that's all he had to say. You said it, and he quoted Daniel 7. He said, if you say I'm Mashiach, then Daniel chapter 7, verse 9, 10, and 11 did. Let's go to Mark. Let's see what he had to say. You read, Papa? We're going to Mark 16, Papa, or Mark 15. Well, 14 and 14 and 62, which is going to give the same account. Yahushua said, I am, and you shall see. No, to back it up. He said, but he held his shalom, answering nothing. Again, the high priest asked him and said unto him, are you the Mashiach, the son of the Baruch? Yahushua said, I am, and you shall see the Son of Man sitting on the right hand of power, coming in the clouds of heaven. Again, he making a straight attestation. I am who I've been told you I was. But they asked him, they swore by Elohim for him to say in that instance he can't lie. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, he can't lie regardless. But when you coming at somebody and saying, swear to me by Yahuah, you're gonna have to tell the truth. He told him the truth. Of course, it's the same thing in Mark. We don't need that. Let's look at Luke, because Luke got a little different words. Muffin man, calm down. What you laughing at, little granny? What you laughing at, little granny? Matthew chapter 22. Let's see, we don't want to read anything before they snatched it. Again, in Matthew 22 and 67, we'll pick it up right there, 22 and 66. Luke, I'm sorry, Luke 22 and 66. Well, there ain't no Matthew 22 and 66. And as soon as it was the day, the elders of the people, the chief priests and scribes came together, led him into their council, saying, are you the Mashiach? Tell us. And he said unto them, if I tell you, you will not believe. And if I also ask you, you will not answer me, nor let me go. Hereafter shall the Son of Man sit on the right hand of power of Elohim. Then they said, they all, are you then the son of Elohim? And he said unto them, you say that I am. So again, it's the same concept. They're asking him to identify himself. He's telling them book. But in this instance, it bears witness of, if I told you, if I asked you a question, you wouldn't answer me, and you're not going to let me go. See, this is the point. This is an individual whose mouth is being watched over or guarded because he's watching what he says out of his mouth. Notice the key component that what he is not doing is he is not bringing attention or esteem unto himself. Let's continue. 22, 23, excuse me, and 28. Girl, fix your clothes. Fix your clothes. Luke 22, 23, and 28. Yahushua 27, so you can know what's going on. And there followed him a great company of people, of women, which also bewailed him and lamented him. Yahushua turning unto them said, daughters of Jerusalem, weep not for me, but weep for yourselves and for your children. For behold, the days are coming in which they shall say, Baruch are the barren, and the wombs of them that never bear, and the paps which never gave suck. They shall begin to say to the mountains, fall on us, and to the hills, cover us. If they do these things in a green tree, what shall be done in the dry? In this instance, he's speaking to whom? He's trying to give some wisdom to these women who are mourning that he is about to pass. See, that's also in Zechariah 12 about the women mourning apart and the men mourning apart. Are you familiar with what I speak? Zechariah chapter 12. Granny. Hey, Granny. Hey, look, Granny. Where my money at, Granny? You got my money? Where's my money, Granny? Make a fool of me, Granny. 12 and 10. Zechariah 12 and 10. Make a fool of me, Granny. Zechariah 12 and 10. And I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the ruach of grace and of supplications. They shall look upon me whom they have pierced, and they shall mourn for him. As one mourn for his only son, and shall be in bitterness for him. As one that is in bitterness for his firstborn. And that day there shall be a great mourning in Jerusalem, as the mourning of Hadremon in the valley of Megiddon. The land shall mourn every family apart, the family of the house of David apart, and their wives apart, the family of the house of Nathan apart, and their wives apart, the family of the house of Levi apart, and their wives apart, the family of Shimei apart, and their wives apart, and all the families that remain, every family apart, and their wives apart. In this instance, he's showing you that the women will mourn separately from the men. That's why you see the women going behind him mourning. And he was trying to let them know, don't cry for me, baby. Because it's going to be a time of coming that I'm going to cry for you. And there's somebody going to say, baby, you're going to be blessed that you never had a child. Because of what you're going to see happen in Jerusalem before the destruction is concerned. Then, of course, after that, you got the Abba forgive them. They know not what they do. Committing his hands into his father's spirit. And, of course, this day you will be with me in paradise. He was talking to the women. He said, don't cry for me, baby. Because if they're going to do this in a green tree, what's going to be happening in the dry? Meaning, if I'm filled with the Ruach and y'all not, what you think going to happen to you? Because he said, baby, they're going to weep. And he said, the day's coming when they're going to say, blessed is those that never had a baby. Because y'all going to be seeing my wrath. The wrath that fall on Jerusalem, and then the wrath that's going to fall on mankind later. John chapter 18. Your son in here on the rampage. You need to chastise him. Thrash him. Thrash him. John chapter 18, verse 20, verse 19. So you will not thrash him? John 18 and 19. You need you a haircut, boy. (18 and 19). John, the high priest then asked Yahushua of his disciples and of his doctrine. Yahushua answered, I spake openly to the world. I ever taught in the synagogue and in the temple, whether the Yahudim already resort, and in secret I have said nothing. I ask you me, ask them which heard me what I have said unto them. Behold, they know what I said. When he had thus spoken, one of the officers who stood by struck Yahushua with the palm of his hand, saying, answer you the high priest so? Yahushua answered him, if I've spoken evil, bear witness of the evil. But if well, why smite you me? Now he let him know what, and even then his mouth is guarded. You're asking me what I taught. Go ask the people what I taught. They can tell you better than I could. Then when you slap me, okay, he didn't even say nothing other than, if I had did wrong, the slap would be justified. But if I ain't did no wrong, what you put your hands on me for? The average person is not going to be able to guard their tongue to not react in an emotional fashion. This man is under extreme duress. He's under extreme persecution, but yet his mouth, he still got control of his tongue. See, this is the examples of just because you're dealing with a high stressful situation does not mean that you lose control of your faculties. The ability to maintain the spiritual aspect. Matter of fact, Ephesians 5. I saw her this. Galatians 5. I saw her this earlier. Randy, where's my money? You got some candy? I'll take the candy. Ain't no candy. What you laughing for? I want candy. 5 and 13. Go get the candy. I know you got candy. I know you got Reese's peanut butter Snickers bars. Galatians 5 and 13. For brethren, you have been called under liberty. Only use not liberty for the occasion of to the flesh, but by love serve one another. That is what you see Yahushua doing. He was called under freedom by reason of him offering himself. And by reason of that freedom, he did not use that as an occasion to revel in his flesh. He did not do that. He chose to serve by love, to serve one another, which is, I will forgive them. They know not what they do. I'm willing to offer himself. Let's continue. For all law is fulfilled in one word, even in this, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. But if you bite and devour one another, take heed that you be not consumed one of another. This I say then, walk in the Ruach, and you shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lust against the Ruach, and the Ruach against the flesh, and these are contrary one to another, so that you cannot do the things that you would. But if you be led by the Ruach, you are not under the law. That is the importance of what we're looking at, why he's asking him to guard his tongue. So he's led by the spirit of Yahuah and not the spirit of himself. Let's return to John chapter 18. Get up at verse 33. Well, I tried to look at that video. What's the name had dropped in the chat? Christina, what that video about? Oh, Kevin Samuels put the last nail in the coffin of black relationships, and then I seen it was Deborah. Watch this, watch. I clicked off of that rather quick. Only because she said something about that black men only go after white women because black women only want to have sex and missionary. That's when I knew that she ain't been out here. Yes, she did. That's how I could tell that this is a woman who's been married for a long time. You know what I'm saying? And you have no idea what is really going on out here. And nor should you. You know, you're supposed to be a task woman, a woman of age and wisdom. You ain't supposed to know that these girls out here freakier than the doggone a $2 whore walking down Main Street in Chicago. Because to think that black men are choosing white men because white women do other sexual positions is a fallacy. These girls out here stone cold free. Stone cold. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about stone cold Steve Austin. I knew he wouldn't even know listen to her because you don't have no idea. These young girls around here eating booty. And they've been doing it. You think about all them old movies from back in the day set in a different time, how freaky them women were. See, that's the fallacy too, that black women were prudes and they didn't like to do this and do that. Lies. It's all lies. White girls are freakier. Nah, black girls just don't want you to know how freaky they are. See, white girls don't care. They'll let you know that I'm a nasty whore. And I do a lot of things, but the thing is she said, but by 24, I'm gonna be married. So I'm gonna be a hoe from 15 to 23. Then I'm gonna get me a husband. Black girls just extended out to about 30 now, 35. Now I want me a husband. Because he got his stuff. 1833. I said, no, nothing against her. I didn't know she had it in. As a matter of fact, I had found something I meant to send because I was supposed to send it to somebody because they were talking about how black men don't take care of their kids, but the numbers say that black men take care of their kids more often than all other races of people. Hold on, let me find it. This is what it says, right? It says for children under 5, fed or ate meals with their children daily, fathers who living with their kids did this 78.2% of the time. That is about 5% higher than white men and 15% higher than Hispanics. And they're at a number of 12.6% if they don't live with them. White men didn't have a number reported for that. It said bathed, diapered, or dressed their children daily. Black men came in at 70.4%, which was 10% higher than Caucasians and 25% higher than Hispanics. And if they didn't dwell with the child, it was 12.7%, which was double white folks, which was 6.6 and 7.3 for Hispanics. It said to play with their children daily. Black men came in second in that regard at 82.2%. White men had 82.7, but they were the highest if they didn't live with a child at 16.5%. White men were at 6.6%. It said to read to the children daily. Remember, this is for children under 5. They were at 34.9%, which was the highest if they lived with a child, and 78.8% if they did not. So the same thing, children ages 5 to 18. 8 meals with the children daily, they were last. They were at 61.7. Hispanics were first. And they were at 2.1 if they didn't live with them, 4.2 being Caucasians being the highest. took children to and from activities. Black men ranked first at 27.1% and first at non-living at 5%. Be quiet. Now talk about that. Because if you want to talk about something, I can talk about this belt on my waist going to go ahead and make your butt about 3 shades dark. Would you? Because I don't care nothing about you turning 6. You can still get whooped. What? It said to talk to the children about their day daily. Black men came in at about 67.4%, which was the highest, and 17.8% if they did not live with them. Help the children with their homework or check that they finished it. Black men came in at 40.6%, which is 10 to 12% higher than the other 2 nationalities. And 9.7% if they didn't live there, which was the highest. They say, note, many differences between white, black, and Latino fathers were not statistically significant due to margins of error. Fathers who live with some children or living far from others were asked separately about each set of children. Their different answers were counted in 2 different categories. Now, of course, it says that these things do not necessarily indicate precision. But the thing that I'm discussing is, like I said, right, how many of y'all in your life do you know men who did not take care of their kids in a mass amount as it is portrayed? Because is it not portrayed that black men just abandon their children and don't take care of their kids? But how many men do you know personally that don't take care of their kids versus the amount of men that you know personally that do? You know what I'm saying? Because when you look at it and you begin to assess it with your real life, most people don't really know niggas who don't take care of their kids in regards to the numbers of men that they do, meaning that the men who don't are higher than the men who do. Because you know way more men who do take care of their kids than men who don't. But the ratio in the public sphere is it's more men who don't than it is who do. And then you don't check it because you buy the stereotype that niggas don't because of, like you said, your daddy or maybe your child daddy, and then individuals paint their whole world view off of their anecdotal experience. But in general life living, the mass majority of black men take care of their kids. Like this here, right? I told this girl this here, right? Sean said the most he knew had this with this run of baby mothers who didn't. I'm almost 41 years old. I don't know that many dudes who I personally know, who I interacted with, who did not take care of their kids. Now, of course, you talking about from a time frame of 1994, 95, when people I knew personally, like in my peer group, started having kids, meaning we teenagers. Man, most of them, all them boys took care of their kids except for a couple. I ain't know too many dudes that ain't take care of their kids. I ain't know too many dudes that stepped out on their kids and ain't had nothing to do with them. I don't know. I definitely don't know a lot. I know some, but I don't know a lot. Because generally speaking, men don't walk away from their offspring. It's not to say that there's niggas that don't. Generally speaking, men don't walk away from their kids. There has to be. See, a lot of women be like, well, if that woman was doing this, why you ain't fight? Because a lot of men feel like, fight this hoe for what? I'm just not going to do that. I'm just going to send a check or I'm just going to move on with my life. I'm not going to tussle and fight with this woman about the child. You know what I'm saying? See, a lot of women think that I can take this man through all these changes, and if he really loved the child, then he going to go through all these changes with me, and men are just not going to do it. I'm not, because at this point, I am actually bending and yielding to your will, and I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to allow you to try to dominate me and control me with my own seed. I'll just send this check, and when they get older, prayerfully the child to know that their mama was a deadbeat maggot slut playing games with you. Because most of y'all do know that it's more kids that done grew up and found out it was their mama fault why they ain't see their daddy, than it was their daddy fault for not coming around here. And that's a conversation these don't want to have. You know what I'm talking about? See, these women play these games, but they don't want to have that conversation because all y'all grew up with somebody who didn't have their daddy, and then they grew up and found out it was their mama why their daddy wasn't there. But it's easier to see men get blamed for everything. That's not to say some not some crack candies out here, but men get blamed for everything. And it's like this woman is always in the right. And that's not always the case. That's not always the case. But mainly I'm saying is, especially all y'all, because most of y'all in here, y'all married, y'all men take care of y'all kids. Y'all not supposed to let people get away with that if they're having that conversation in your presence. You like not the niggas I know, all the men I know take care of their kids. I don't know what you talking about. What type of niggas you dealing with? They don't take but a second to let them hold no. I'm not gonna allow you to denigrate he who I come from and make him seem like he's some deadbeat, no good man who shuns responsibility, and that's not reality. You can't allow people to do that because when they disparage him, truth be told, they disparaging you. 18 and 34, 33. Then Pilate entered into the judgment hall again and called Yahushua and said unto him, Are you the Malach of the Yahudim? Yahushua answered him, Say you this thing of yourself? Or did others tell it of you? Pilate answered him, I Yahudim, the whole nation. Chief priests have delivered you unto me. What have you done? Yahushua answered, My kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom of this world, my servants would fight, that I should not be delivered to the Yahudim, but now is my kingdom not far from hence. Pilate therefore said unto him, Are you then a king then? Yahushua answered, You say that I'm a king. To if in was I born, and for this cause came I into the world, that I shall bear witness unto the truth. Everyone that is of the truth hears my voice. And then, of course, he told Pilate what? You ain't got no power over me. But if it was given you from above. So again, this is how to guard, because in each statement, who is he giving esteem to? His Father in heaven. That's how you ask him to keep a guard over your mouth. Back to Psalms 141, verse 4. Incline not my heart to any evil thing, to practice wicked works with the men that work iniquity. Let me not eat of their dainties. What do you think this means? What does Proverbs 23 tell you about if you be a man of appetite, what you ought to do? Put your knife to your throat. And he said, if a man said dainties before you, what you should not do. Don't partake of. Let me read it to you.
Dainties.
You like dainties, boy? 23 and 1. Proverbs 23 and 1. Granny, 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 granny.
He doesn't even care.
Granny, 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 granny. Proverbs 23 and 1. He say, when you sit with the ruler, consider diligently what is before you. Put a knife to your throat if you be a man given the appetite. That's why he tell you, if your eye offend you, do what? Pluck it out. It's better for you to go into life with one eye than to have two eyes and be cast into hellfire, where the worm dies not and the fire shall not be quenched. Okay, so Saran say women try to take off with your kids and phase you out, then have the next man be called dad. The system won't help you. It's wrong according to the word. Now, see, he's talking about a different scenario. And this is a scenario what the brother was talking about the other day. It would be a lot different if you got pregnant and you weren't married and then you were made to marry the man you had a baby from. Or if men would not take on women who didn't have kids, you would be forced to stay with the man you had a baby from or guard your womb. Because our brother was, that's what we finna get to with Dan. Because the brother was referencing that. And a lot of women had the idea of, I'll get a baby because I know that I can find a nigga to be a daddy to my child instead of the man who I had a baby with. You looking crazy. Shoot, but that's about 75, that's like 75 to 80% of the women out here. And that's being generous. Because every woman knows if it don't work out with him, there's another nigga who will come in here and raise this child. Every woman know this. Now, one thing that Kevin Sanders mentioned this the other day is this generation of young men are declining being stepfathers than previous. They're declining. They're saying, no, I'm not doing it.
It's less and less likely for a woman to grab another nigga to do it.
Yeah, dudes is not now. Yeah, like he mentioned that Generation Z, Generation X, they're saying, no, I'm not doing it. Only because that it's not necessarily like that video that little girl when she talking about look at dad and she was like that ain't my daddy. My daddy in jail and I missed him. That's destructive to that. Like they said, man, you doing all this stuff. This woman is trying to convince this man that that's his child, and that little girl knows who her daddy is. And she's rejecting the premise that he is her father. Then for the most part, when you come in and you're raising somebody else's child, if that woman is not going to allow you autonomy to do what you want to do, then basically you have become her helpmeet because you're going to help her raise the child how she wanted to be raised. Most of us grew up with people who say, oh, that ain't my daddy, I don't listen to him. But this nigga taking care of these niggas. So why would he sign up for that? Most of y'all know that most women won't let you chastise their child, or if they do, they let you do it too quickly. Nigga around here been gonna abuse their child because they got any and everybody around their child.
Hey,
be quiet. Be quiet. Now I'm not just saying this here. This is just the reality of things that happen out here in the world. Things that we like to stick our head into saying act like it's not true. Because there's too many women out here got kids from 3, 4 different niggas, and can find a nigga to come in there and play daddy all these children who got mixed up DNA. You know what I'm saying? I know women who had another man while she was pregnant with a nigga's baby. What type of man are you that you would get with a woman while she was pregnant with another man's baby? You see a woman, I know y'all know women who had newborns and were with men who were not the father of that baby. You know what I'm saying? So when a woman knows that it's somebody who's going to come in here and do that, there's not an incentive for her to protect her womb and to not give that away to a man who is not worthy of her womb, because she know there'll be somebody who will come up on the back end and do it. I literally heard a woman on an interview say she was pregnant, the father of the baby was in the hospital, possibly on his deathbed, and she was looking for a stepfather to take his place, saying, you know, you got to have a backup on standby. She was still with the man. The man is in the hospital fighting for his life. And she said, I need to get a backup replacement for him. Literally said, I want a stepfather. That's literally what she said. Like I say back and say, my mom at the time, that wouldn't have been a big deal for a man to do that. But as the 80s and the 90s have came along, now you done got to the 2010s, these young men don't want to do it. They don't want to do it. That's why you hear so many women saying, why you bashing single mothers? Because dudes are saying, I don't want to do that. So they're trying to shame men into doing something that they don't want to do. Because I don't want to take care of this nigga child. Human beings are the only animals on the earth that raise other people's children.
That's why that's psychological. That's
because in the animal kingdom, if you had kids, they're going to kill your kids and he going to start a family brand new. All your kids die. So they're going to kill them. You know what I'm saying? They're going to kill them. That's not, the animals don't do that. They're not taking care of another person's offspring. That's the crazy part. Women that have 3, 4 kids and then say she don't want a man with kids. But they say that because they'll say they don't want the baby mom. See, it's a different aspect of why a man said and why a woman said. All that. I literally just heard a woman say that the other day. She got 2 kids, didn't want a man with kids, and the father of her kids was in prison. But she stated why most women don't want it because they feel like she's going to be in competition with the women who you got kids from. Most men don't want to do it because that's not my child. I don't want to take care of that child. And they believe that you might be having sex with the dude who you got that baby from on the low. But the main thing is I can never look at that child and say that that's mine. That's why most dudes don't do it. Wow. Now, Jessica says that her grandfather's mother remarried and her husband would make him sit outside to eat dinner by himself because he wasn't his child. That's harsh. Tell your daddy to come get you.
Work out both.
See, I know for women it's harsh because that's your baby and you love it. But that man does not have any type of connection to that child whatsoever. No man can ever convince himself that another man's child is his. To ask a man to do that is lunacy. Because you're asking him to belittle himself mentally by trying to persuade himself that another man's seed is his. It's not my DNA. He doesn't share my spirit. We're not the same. It doesn't mean that I don't have love for the child, but that's not my child. That's a mental psychosis if a man sitting there and trying to convince himself that another man's child is his. You have literally made yourself into a whole nigga. Golly, your grandma was rough. Grandma was rough. You can't convince yourself. See, when women hear that, they automatically think, well, dang, you ain't gonna love my child, you ain't gonna do this. No, that's not my son. That's not my daughter.
I just think about all men I know
That's not the same. Because remember, if y'all remember, Life Jennings had a song about that on one of his albums about would you be upset with me if I loved my child a little bit more than I love your child? He got with a woman with a child, they had a baby, and he was singing about I love my natural born child more than I love that child because that child has a piece of me. That's my DNA, that's my makeup. When I look at them, I see myself. And that's just the reality of it. Because it's nothing for women. Women like kids for the most part, so they ain't gonna be looking at it like, that ain't my daughter, that ain't my son. It's a different mentality of it. If they have motherly instincts, their motherly instincts are going to come out. But that man gonna look at it like it's different. That's not my seed. It's not that I ain't gonna love him, but I ain't gonna love him like I love my own son. That's just what it is. And if you think otherwise, you're lying to yourself. And you should never tell no man ever to convince himself that another man's child is his. And the main reason is for the child, especially the child know they did. Like what that woman did on that video. Hey, look at daddy. Why would you do that and that little girl know her dad? You know what I'm saying? Why would you do that? If you know a child, you messing with a woman, got a child, you let her know, yeah, you got a daddy. Your daddy is such and such. I'm not your daddy. Because you don't need to confuse that child with that. If that child chooses to view you like that, they got to do that on their own. You know what I'm saying? But you trying to convince them that this man is their father? Absolutely not. You got a daddy. If you want to talk to him, you can call him. Well, he don't come around here. Well, I ain't got nothing to do with that, son. You know what I'm saying? That's how you got to keep it neutral.
I feel like
you got to keep it neutral.
He feel like I should call him better.
Facts now.
I should respect the fact that he has trying to do that. And I should respect him.
A lot of men feel that way. They feel like if I'm stepping up when your daddy ain't do it, you should respect me like that. I didn't ask you to do it. And that's why you don't set. And that's why you don't set yourself up for that. You know what I'm saying? If that's what you're gonna do, that's what you're gonna do. But if you're looking for the same accolade and appreciation that you would get from your own child, just best believe you might not get it.
I know you still doing it.
Yeah, you getting buttoned somewhere to stay.
Yeah.
You didn't come here for me.
Yeah.
Tell me that lie.
Yeah.
You came in here because my mama was silly enough to take care of your broke behind. That's why you really here. Straight, but the thing is they think that they think as a child. No, but they think as a child, they think you not smart enough to see that. Yeah, keep it a buck. You hear? Hey, my mama done. It's all good. It's all good, my nigga. Don't come up to me like all you ever wanted to do in life was be a father figure to me. Nigga, stop lying.
Even though my dad ain't feel like he wanted to do it.
Yeah, stop lying, man. No, don't do that. That ain't right. That's not right. No, because that's the reality. All y'all know it. See, most of y'all, did any of y'all grow up with a stepfather? How you view it? You already know you don't view that man like that. No, that don't even count. Because you already removed dealing with people you ain't supposed to be living with your grandparents. Well, how you felt about your stepdaddy? Did you really look at him and be like, yeah, that's really my daddy? Now, if your real daddy came into presence at the same time, what you gonna do then? Because that's where the rubber meet the road at. But men gonna get their feelings hurt. Because you gonna have an affinity for your daddy, whether he was there or not. That's your daddy.
Poor girl.
Shoot, that don't matter, girl or boy. If you don't know it, but it's an aspect of it's a lot of men who've been heartbroken because when that daddy popped up, them turned and ran to their daddy because they wanted to have a relationship with their daddy.
Come here, y'all. For real, bro.
Yeah, but I done seen women say, "Here go my dad," and they like, yes, man.
And my daddy raised her because they had like started like mom. She was like, "Look, my daddy was like."
All of them. Move.
I mean, because it is. Because your mama looking at it, you got to look at the one who's there versus, yeah, he was there, but we flesh and blood though. That's DNA. Yeah. I can understand because you ain't know. And we talk about it in general, because I know some people are gonna be like, I had my stepdaddy, F my daddy. That's rare. I feel you on that table.
Your stepdaddy was real decent and godly. Yeah, but that's rare. That's rare.
He don't even, yeah. Because he don't get mentioned. But the rubber gonna meet the road is his daddy show up. Because you're looking at this is a piece of you that you didn't know. Now sometimes the child is gonna be angry, you know what I'm saying, with the father and not fool with him. But a lot of kids be like this here. There's a part of me that I don't know. Because it's the same thing with adopted kids. They love their adopted parents. They find out who their birth parents is, and they like this here. And the birth parent be upset. You see that with a little girl who got kidnapped from here. Like this here, her people couldn't understand, like, why you want to come over here and talk to this person? It took a while to warm up to him because you want to know. It's your flesh and blood. It's a DNA. It's a DNA. It's a DNA bond that is unlike any other. It's not the same.
She finally get connected with her mama because her mama was sick.
Yeah,
she still wanted to be
to talk to them. She thinking, yeah, you supposed to cut that person off. Not looking at this all I know. Don't get me wrong, like she said, it's situational, but for the most part, boy, there's nothing like knowing your own people. It's nothing like it. Huh? Well, that's latest stuff. What about it? Shoot, your mama don't know us. But I understand. Hold on. Sean said he was raised by his pop's mom. Say when his mama died, her brother tried to keep me away from my dad, and he never understood that. No, let's get wrap this up. Though. Come on back over here to Psalm 141. I've been mentioning that because the aspect of it, right, of being the son of God and being the son of man is totally different because it's on the same token. But the main reason why I'm mentioning that is mentality-wise, because our people operate in a fashion of that should be acceptable for somebody to take care of somebody else's child, and that they just think because that person was there and played that role, that person is going to view them like they viewed their own daddy. And then a lot of men set themselves up for great disappointment because that does not happen. You know what I'm saying? It's something that you have to assess. That's something that you can't tell a man what to do or what not to do. For the most part, most men gonna tell you not to do it. Especially if you ain't got no kids, they gonna tell you not to. Now, if you got kids, that's something different. You know what I'm saying? But mainly when that conversation is had, it's had for dudes who don't have any kids. Because if you got 2, 3 kids and she got a child or 2, that ain't no issue. You know what I'm saying? But I never understood the fact of dudes getting chicks who got kids from 3, 4 different men, and you like this here. This seems like a great idea. I don't know how that's possible. Like if she got 3 kids from one man, hey, that's your business. But when 3 men have not deemed her worthy enough to be to make her their wife, and left their seed behind, oh, that's a no for me, dog. That's a no for me. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm looking at what is it about you, baby? 3, 4 different men done left their seed behind, and you done brought forth the fruit of that womb, and that man is gone. You're not gonna tell me all 4 of them niggas was wrong. This something right here ain't right. Something gave me right. Ain't no 4 dudes? No, not 4 dudes. No. I told you, I work with a chick, 9 kids, 9 men. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. I don't even want that vagina. Ain't no way in the world. Straight up, work that L house, 9 kids. You wouldn't even tell she had that many kids, bro. 9 kids, 9 men. That won't pollute it, boy.
I don't get it.
Psalms 141:5. You ain't lying. It's rough, man. Psalms 141, sir. 141. Not 40. 141. I mean, I'm just sitting there because that's a tough conversation to have amongst our people. It got to be had, though.
Well, you almost started to get your color. One is lucky tea.
You about to go to your room.
Come here, Jeremiah Bird. What's your problem?
Come up.
Go sit down.
Come on.
Because you got a fresh fade. That means that's good for the slapping upside the back of the head.
Come here, Yanni.
It said, listen to what it says, verse 5, Psalms 141. Now, of course, Sean mentioned that with Daniel because Daniel didn't want to eat of the king's dainties. That's why he say, don't incline my heart to any evil thing to practice wicked works with men that work iniquity. That's the same thing why he didn't want to fool with the scribes and the Pharisees. You don't want to have your heart get turned over to ended up fool, because it's kind of like when Satan offered him all those riches. People's hearts are inclined to many things, and things of the flesh is what gets people to go off to be with wicked people to do wicked things. That's why you have to crucify your flesh and live according to the Ruach, like we just read in Galatians 5. Because if you live it in the flesh, you gonna go contrary. You gonna go contrary. You know what I'm saying? And it sets yourself up. See, that's even like what we just mentioned about protecting your womb. Just like a man protecting his seed. Because I know a lot of dudes who put their seed in the wrong kind of woman and their life been hell ever since. You know what I'm saying? And it's all because nobody is teaching you any type of foresight and self-control over your life. You're not looking at what your decisions are going to lead to, what outcomes are going to be led. One reason why I don't have any kids now is because I understood all of that at a young age. I am going to be cautious. I know what the outcome can be. A few moments of pleasure are not worth the negative outcome. Like I told you before, I knew going to jail was a part of selling dope. So I already knew what the outcome could be. I could die, go to jail. See, most of y'all, when you made decisions in your youth, you were not thinking about the outcome. You weren't thinking about how this is going to end. And when it doesn't end how you want somebody to come clean that up, or someone to feel sorry for you, and you find out that nobody gives a damn. Because you should have thought better, you should have did better, you should have moved better. And when you hear that, you're thinking, well, why you got to be that way? Guess what? Welcome to the world of a man. Because every decision that a man makes, whether good or bad, that's what he's going to be told. If a man was to sit here and cry about, oh, Lord, I sinned and I did all this here, you should have did better. You had better information in front of you why you didn't do it. So you have to get at what it is that's victim mentality. You have to get out of the mentality of being a victim and understand that you made that choice. You made that decision. You didn't weigh out that outcome. You're going to have to deal with that outcome. You can't cry your way out of the consequences of your actions. You can't sadden your way out of the consequences of your actions. Now, that's something also I was taught that as a child. Everybody else may have not. My mother always told me you got to accept the responsibility for the consequence of your actions. How many of you were instructed that there were consequences for your actions and you would have to take responsibility for them? That's why when you talk that, you don't really have a lot of care for what anybody has to say about bad decisions other than what can be told to you so you don't make that choice again. But some people like being stupid. And you know what that's about? Again, not inclining your heart to be inclined to any evil thing. So when you have an inclination to evil thing, just like I say in Proverbs, those who are liars like to draw to people with those who have a naughty tongue or evildoers like to listen to a naughty tongue. Something along those lines. You have to look at that. Let me ask y'all this. When y'all was out here doing stuff you ain't had no business, whatever it was, I ain't saying y'all was out here just being pure, unadulterated hellions. But did you notice that you were more inclined to be around people who did things that you know y'all shouldn't have been doing versus people who did not? That's his point. Don't incline my heart. But listen to what you're saying. I want to be around wickedness. I want to be around people who could put me in a compromised position that could ruin my life. I didn't either. But I had enough sense because I knew what these niggas were dealing with. They were dealing with life and death, like jail, prison, grave. You know what I'm saying? But I'm mentioning that because that's what that verse is referring to. That's what we get caught up at. Because you're not looking at the people who you surround yourself with could have a negative outcome on your life. Because you end up taking on their mindsets, their mentalities, their worldviews, their perspectives, their recklessness. And the psalmist here is writing, David is writing, don't incline my heart to practice no wicked works with anybody like this. I don't want to get caught up with nobody like this. Verse 6, well, verse 5, we're going to come back to all this stuff in a minute. He said, let the righteous smite me, it shall be kindness. Let him reprove me, it shall be an excellent oil, which shall not break my head, for yet my prayer also shall be in their calamities. Let's look at calamities. That's evil. It's got Ra there. We're going to talk about that, God willing, on Wednesday. When you look at that, right, let the righteous smite me, it shall be kindness. Let him reprove me, it shall be excellent oil. What do you think that means when it says excellent oil? Because here we're going to have to precept that excellent oil all the way out. Now, when it's got excellent, it's got Rosh Shaman, so head oil. So when you look at it being excellent oil, if you recall what's in Proverbs 1, he say, turn to you under my reproof, and I will pour out my ruach upon you and make my words known unto you. When you allow the righteous, i.e. Yahushua, to smite you, that's the kindness of Elohim. Because remember, he says, those whom he loves, he what? He chastens. He say, let him reprove me. It will be excellent oil. His correction leads to the leader's spirit. But let's continue. When their judges are overthrown in stony places, they shall hear my words, for they are sweet. That's dealing about when them kings going to be asking for the mountains to fall on them. He said they'll hear them words then. See, people not hearing the man words now. But in that day, they're going to hear him, and they're going to be sweet, but it's going to be too late. Hard. He say, our bones are scattered at the grave's mouth as when one cut up and cleaved the wood upon the earth. And he was like, they have spilled all the blood of all your apostles and all your prophets. That's in Revelation 18. But my eyes are unto you, O Yahuah the Lord. In you is my trust. Leave not my soul destitute. When we look at destitute, that is a Ra. That is Ayin, Rosh, and Hay. It means to be bared, to be nude, to be uncovered, to expose oneself or to make oneself naked. Number one, if it's saying to leave not my soul naked, y'all know what destitute means, right? What destitute means? You don't know what destitute means. I say, what does destitute mean? That is horrible. Michael, what does destitute mean? You work at a bank.
This nigga said you work at a bank.
Huh? That's right, poverty. You ain't got no money. Somebody walk through and say they destitute, that nigga broke. Somebody hit her with the cat. She need to be struck with the cat. Head about big as cabbage. That's your problem. Now you ain't paying attention. Now you can't get in because you can't pay the cost because you don't have the money. Right. Talk to it, Joe. All right.
Calm down there a little bit.
Ayin, Rosh, and Hay. So remember, right, he says, my trust is in Yahuah, he will not leave me naked. It's at least one verse should come to your mind about not being naked. Y'all don't know what it is? I give you that, but it ain't Joe. Naked. Revelation 16 and 15, quickly, if you would. We had 5:30, we had 2.5 hours. We had to go. You know what? Back it up. You can pick it up at verse 8 or 7. Revelation 16. Because one thing about certain conversations that had to be had, again, certain conversations that had not to belittle or to mock anybody. I can give you that one, that's wrong. But more so perspective, because y'all know certain type of people that may be in certain type of situations. And there might be certain perspectives that you ain't considered that when you sit down and you are talking to somebody that you can give them a different perspective on the way that they view in their life. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like this here, let's put it in reverse. You don't hear dudes running around, because there's dudes who raising kids. I know a man right now got 3 kids. He raised them all, a little girl and all, no woman in sight. And you don't see dudes say the things that you say women say. You know why women say them? Women are meant to carry that load by themselves. This world has made you believe that you can carry that by yourself. I'm mentioning that because what did Yahushua tell you? In Isaiah 46, what did Yahuwah tell you? That I will bear you and carry you. When it was time for him to pick up that stake, what happened? Simon Cyrene came and helped him carry it. Simon being the example of that woman or being a bachelor. See, women ain't supposed to carry no load by themselves. That's not how things are set up. But we've allowed the world to dictate an unjust balance and system. And we have to allow to start looking at each other and saying, hey, man, we can't keep doing that. Well, shoot, don't shoot. Let him be thirsty. Revelation 16 and 7. And I heard another out of the altar say, even so, Yahuah Elohim. Go on, boy. I said, go on, boy. Hey, don't play with me. When I say go on, that's what I meant. I don't mean to keep on playing. And I said no. So that means go. And I heard another out of the altar say, even so, Yahuah Elohim Almighty, true and righteous are your judgments. Before Malachim poured out his vial upon the sun, power was given unto him to scorch men with fire. Men were scorched with great heat and blasphemed the name of Elohim, which had power over these plagues, and they repented not to give him esteem. The 5th angel poured out his vial upon the seat of the beast, and his kingdom was full of darkness, and they gnawed their tongues for pain, and blasphemed the Elohim and Shamahim because of their pains and their sores, and repented not of their deeds. The 6th Malachim poured out his vial upon the earth, upon the great river Euphrates. The waters thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. I saw 3 unclean ruachs like frogs come out of the mouth of the serpent, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. For they are the ruachs of devils, working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world, to gather them to the battle, the great day of Elohim Almighty. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watch and keep his garments, lest he walk naked, and they see his shame. So remember, right, he say, leave not my soul what? Destitute or naked. So what does that take you back to? Straight back to the beginning. What happened in the beginning? They ate of the tree and they were what? And then they had to get something to what? Cover their shame. So that word Arah is what? Ayin, Rosh, and Hay. So what has you got for Ayin, Rosh, and Hay? What you got is that you can experience the man would raise on, or the son of the highest. Because what is he going to do? He is going to cover you. Because that is your garment. Let's look at that in Genesis real quick, like Genesis 3, I believe. And it's been a long time since we had this conversation as well. Genesis 3 and 7. He says the eyes of them were both open and they knew that they were naked and they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons. Now let me ask you this question. Did the fig leaves stay, or did he give them something different? He gave them something different. Let's look at what he gave. Uh, 3 and 20. Granted. Adam called his wife's name Eve because she was the mother of all living. And Adam also unto his wife did Yahuah make a coat of skins and clothe them. Now let's look at the difference. Fig apron versus a coat of skins. What is the difference? You got one garment that they made of themselves to cover up their sins versus the one that Elohim made to cover. Let's look at fig leaves. First things first, fig. Of course, it's tahan, tau, olive. Noon and hay. So you run here, you see the strength of the, behold, the strength of the covenant is life. But they tried to cover themselves up with something different. You got leaves. Well, you can look at the figs as forth as the fruit. Now you got leaves, a leg, which of course is leafage, leaves or a branch, ayin, lamad, and hay. They beheld and experienced the chastening of Yahuah. That's why they went and grabbed them fig leaves. Because they knew, because what did they do? They went to hide themselves. They say, we naked. We naked. We come down here and we look at the coat of skins. We got to hurry up and get off this. Number one, we got coat, which is an undergarment, a long shirt garment, usually of linen. That goes back to what Saran just mentioned. That fine linen, which is the righteousness of the saints. He gave them a linen garment. Now you got Kef Onet, Ka, Tau, Noon, and Tau. Now again, this is a tunic, it's an undergarment, a long shirt-like garment, usually of linen. You got Ka, so somebody had to be subdued. So he had to subdue that first covenant to give you a covenant of life, which is going to be that righteousness of the saints. Now, of course, he said this is a coat of skins. That was for coat. Now we go to skins. That is ore. That's skin. That's hide. That's animal hide. That's ayin, u, and raj. So now you know, and you have experienced being secured to the highest because he gave you that fine linen, which is the righteousness of the saints. That's why you got your garment on, so you're not naked, so your shame don't appear, because you know your shame is your sin, because whenever you sin, your shame is exposed. That's why he said, don't leave, I trust in Elohim, who will not leave my soul naked, which is the comforter, which he would give to all those who believe on him. We'll go back to what we were talking about on Wednesday night. Last night. Let's finish this Psalm 141. Verse 9, keep me from the snares which they have laid for me, and the gins of the workers of iniquity. Let the wicked fall into their own nets, whilst that I with all escape. You're looking at escaping, it is a bar, and that is to pass over. Y'all know what that is, right? To pass over. That's what happened when you came up out of Egypt. But I just want y'all to think about that, because we're going to revisit that. Leave not my soul naked. Leave not my soul naked. But hallelujah for Yahuah the word. I bless y'all in the house of Elohim. Appreciate your time this evening. Do wait and consider. Again, we will revisit, because you know we came close to Pentecost. That's why that conversation has to be had about your soul not being naked. Just want you to consider that. He said, don't leave my soul destitute or leave my soul naked. Yeah, that's okay. But again, blessings out the house of Elohim in the name of Yahuah. I love y'all. Appreciate y'all time. Just weigh and consider. Think about that in regards to the evening sacrifice, because we probably revisit that as well. Because he said he would dwell amongst you, which is another alluding to the Ruach HaKodesh. Always praising the esteem of the Elohim in the name of Yahuah, because they always set things up and be apropos to what is on the way. Again, blessings out the house of Elohim in the name of Yahuah. Continue to stand firm. Make your election sure. And Yahuah willing, to the next go round. What might I do for you, my son?